Hi, this is Faith, and you are watching The Faith Factor. Holla. Oh shit. I've been talking all this damn time. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thanks, guys, for letting me know I don't have any sound. Oh shit. I was talking all this damn time. Well, let me go ahead and start over, y'all. Anyway, I had said that I was over there on Rude's panel, and he was talking about Danini. He roasted the hell out of Danini and her husband. And I was sitting over there. Now this video is not about Danini and it's not about her husband because I really don't know them like that. Don't interact with them like that. So this is not about them. But what that live got me to thinking about is Danini's husband is guys like him is the reason why a lot of black women decide to just go solo dolo and say, fuck it, I'm gonna be single, where the cat's at. You know, I don't want to be bothered with this shit, too many games being played. Guys like Warren is the reason. Now, I'm gonna just break it down to you in a little bit. Like I said, this is not going to be about Danini. And by the way, I think that Danini, everybody was talking about her looks, but I understand y'all mad at Danini and all that type of stuff. I think she was bogus too for calling China White out her name. China White don't bother nobody. Okay, she was just hella wrong for that shit. I think that she was talking out of her own insecurity. Her man is playing in her face online, and she is going crazy. I think Rude was right on the mark about that shit. But like I said, this ain't about her. But what I will say is that nigga that she with, he the reason why a lot of women say, fuck it, where the cat's at, I'm just finna be by my motherfucking self. He the reason. It's guys like him. Now, a lot of y'all say women, you know, they don't be single by choice. I'm telling you right now, I'm a living witness. There are women that are single by choice because they don't want to be bothered with that bullshit. Yeah, Mella, yes, where the goddamn motherfucking cat's at, okay? I'm telling you, like if I woke up tomorrow and there was nothing but black men like Warren out here, I'll be like, you know what? I'll take my chances with the motherfucking cats. Me motherfucking Yow. Because that shit was ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. And the thing about it is she sat there. Now, I felt sorry for Danini at first. I thought everybody was really being hard on her. But the more she began to talk, because I don't really go with the crowd. I make up my own mind. But the more she began to talk herself, the more I began to see what Rude was talking about. There's a definite low self-esteem thing going on over there with her. For her to sit up there and just see in plain sight that this nigga ain't shit, and she still sat there and defended him. She defended his behavior. And then want to blame other women that this nigga been stalking online because her man is attracted to them and can't leave them alone. I'm done. You know, I am done. Stick a fork in me. I done seen it all. Like I said down there in the chat room, and I don't take that shit back. What we witnessed tonight over there on Rue's panel, and like I said, I'm not trying to make this about nobody. I'm gonna move on with my shit. But that was a classic example of a woman mammying and dirty macking all in one fell swoop. I had never seen nothing like that in real time before. And that right there is what made me not feel sorry for her at all. I understood exactly where he was coming from. But getting back to the reason why a lot of women decide to say single. A lot of women, we get tired, especially if you've been out here, you're dating, you got good intentions, you got your stuff together. You're not coming to the table as a person that is empty. You've cultivated yourself. You know what your worth is, and you know that you bring a lot to the table and you can enhance somebody's life. So when you get people coming into your life and they're constantly sucking the life out of you because they bring nothing to the table but lies and deceit. If you keep going through that gamut over and over again, even if you spot the red flags, And even if you nip the shit in the bud right away, it's just the motion of going through that shit over and over again that makes you tired, makes you not want to go keep, trying, keep giving motherfuckers chances. And I feel that. I feel that to my heart, to the hilt. Let me tell you something. I know women that live by themselves and they're happy and peaceful. You want to know why? Because they don't be bothered with any of these niggas out here. None. And these women are not gay. They're strictly dickly. They like men. They still find men attractive, but they choose not to get in any type of commitment with anybody. Because here's the thing. There's too many people out here lying, scheming, or they're prone to lying and scheming. You get into a situation with them, and I understand a lot of women got this mantra that all men eventually gonna cheat. You're just gonna have to get used to it and forgive them and all that type of stuff. Not every woman is built like that. And that's the reason why in my title I said some women, because a lot of women, they will go through the motions with guys. They'll deal with their cheating behind. They'll forgive them, try to work on their marriage, try to work on their relationship. Me, I'm not that type of female. I'm not. You cheat on me one time. And see, for me, no amount of money, no amount of gifts, no amount of you being sorry, nothing will be able to save your ass when I find out you a cheater. That's just me. I'm very unforgiving. And the reason why is because I'm the type of person I love very hard. So when I open myself up to a relationship, and this is why I can relate to women that live by themselves, and they say it takes a lot for them to open up and be with somebody. When you are a person that you're good and you have a decent heart, you should really, really protect it at all costs. Now, myself, I'm a very generous person. I do know that, when I open myself up, I love hard. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And because I know this about myself, I'm very careful and very selective about the people that I let get close to me. Very. And at this juncture, I don't really see anybody as being worthy. So if I die alone, if I die the cat lady, I ain't really tripping, because I would rather go that route than be lied to, cheated on, games played on, and all that type of stuff. I really don't have time for that. Really don't have time for it. So when you see the women that's going to work every day and they seem to be content with their life by themselves, these are the type of women that you're seeing. I'm just explaining it to you from that point of view. Now, it doesn't mean that these women don't desire to have somebody in their lives, but they would prefer to be by themselves than to go through a gamut of games. And there's a lot of games being run out here. Now, just strictly talking from my own experience and for myself, I date. I've talked about, my dating experiences on YouTube. I used to, run heavily into the dating apps, but there was a lot of problems with the dating apps. And so I just kind of eliminated that altogether. There was too many people playing on there. And then I started just meeting people organically. And once again, you run into the problem of people lying and not being especially honest about their intentions. So when I did finally run across a person, this guy was very, very different than anybody else I had even given the time of day. And like I said, it would take a hell of a man to make me want to give up my freedom and my peace of mind. It really does. It doesn't for me, and this is what I say for these type of women, and I'm not speaking for all women, but for these types of women like myself, it's going to take more than your money. Not saying that you don't have to have money, because yes, you do have to have money, but it's going to take more than your money to get my mind and get my heart. You're going to have to show me what the fuck you working with on a mental level and a maturity level. There's a lot of guys running out here that are not mature enough to deal with a woman like me. And see, I don't care what anybody says about, me being manly and all this type of stuff. That's nonsense. And I know it is. See, I don't govern my life by YouTube talking points. I govern my life by what works in reality. And in reality, there are a lot of people out here lying and playing games. So why on earth would I open myself up to such? I don't think any woman should. I think every woman should be selfish. I really do. Now, there are some women where the money is the bottom line and getting the bag is the bottom line and leveling up is the bottom line. They don't really care about love. It's a financial transaction for them. I don't have anything against those women. To each their own. I don't tell other people what works for them. There are some people where money is the end all be all. And that's perfectly fine. Everybody got to find a niche. I'm the number one person that will tell each woman to know herself. So if you are a woman and you know that you can't be with a man that don't have money, and money is the big thing for you, then I would say go after what it is that you want. Everybody should go after what they want and be happy. But there's a lot of shaming language for women that don't want to be bothered with none of the nonsense. There's a lot of shaming language for those type of women. And I'm one of those types of women. Now, when I say it's not about the money for me, that don't mean I would take any broke ass nigga. That don't mean that at all. It means that I'm not for the bullshit. See, for me, I got a low tolerance for BS. Ronald Finkley says it was very helpful, but it was just one date. Ronald Finkley, like I said, I've dated. It wasn't just one date. That's just the one date that I told y'all about. Like I said, I divulge very little about my personal life, only what I want my audience to know. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. And nobody's privy to everything about somebody's life, not even the content creators. And I'll be open and honest with you when I do bring up, certain scenarios that I go through, certainly. But the thing about me and women like me, because there's quite a few women like myself. I know quite a few women in my family that's just like me. I know quite a few women outside my family that's just like me. Biggest pet peeve with women like myself that have these hard exteriors is the low, how can I say, the low tolerance for BS. Now, there's some women that can tolerate a lot of bullshit, and they can do it with finesse. They will turn their head when they see men flirting with other women, as long as they're meeting their actual bottom line. And every woman has a bottom line. Some women's bottom line is as long as you don't embarrass her in front of everybody. So you can cheat, lie, do all types of game playing that you want. But as long as you don't make it apparent to other people, keep that to yourself, and don't be disrespectful with it, she will tolerate it. There are some women that are like that. That's their bottom line. That is their, what do you call it, deal breaker. Then there are other women They don't care what you do, just so long as you have money and you're paying all the bills and you're taking care of them. That's their bottom line. As long as they can swipe the credit card, they're cool with it. And there are still other women like myself where the bottom line is we don't want to deal with none of the foolery at all whatsoever. That's where I stand. It don't matter how much money you get, how much swag you get, how big your penis is, none of that. There are some women that are actually like that. And these are the women that get overlooked a lot of times. Because when we say it's a choice, people sit up here and they laugh and they say, no, it's not. You're ugly or you're undesirable and stuff like that. But I know plenty of women that are gorgeous that feel this way. There are some people where their peace of mind is worth more than a 8-inch penis, a big penis. Their peace of mind is worth more than your money. Their peace of mind is worth more than flossing or, posing like you a happy couple for the friends and family. I'm one of those people. My peace of mind is worth more than that. What's up, D. Darrell? So this is the reason why you have some women that say that they don't mind being by themselves. And these are the women that don't care when you say you're going to die alone. I'm one of those women. The shaming tactic, you're going to die alone, doesn't work on women like myself. I'm not interested in what it is that you're selling unless you're being genuine. Period, point blank. End of story. And if I can't be with a man that's going to be genuine, that's going to truly honor and respect me and appreciate me for the person that I am, then I don't mind dying alone. Because to women like me, the worst thing anyone can do to me is be an embarrassment to me. I look at my man as being an extension of myself, the same way I am an extension of him. So if I'm out here running the street, acting all thotty, playing in his face, that's a slap in his face. And see, this is something that a lot of you men would not dream of tolerating. And I guess in that sense, I think like a man. And there are a lot of men that don't like women that think like Faith. Because Faith will also say that she would not tolerate a cheating man, not even one time. Especially if you're not my husband. And see, this is the thing that I never understood about a lot of women. A lot of you women are out here taking this abuse off of men that haven't even made any formal commitment to you at all whatsoever. Some of y'all are sitting around here with these fake promise rings, and your man is out here cheating, meandering, lying, playing in your face. And the promise of a commitment is enough for you to stay and put up with that nonsense. Just the promise of a commitment, not an actual commitment. Women like me, I'm not going to be bothered with it. And see, that's why a lot of guys, when I get online and I talk about, I don't care, I will die alone, 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 alone. That shaming tactic doesn't work on women like me. Then the next shaming tactic. Well, you're old and you hit the wall anyway. Nobody wants you. Good. That doesn't work either. Because here's the thing, in the real world, when faith steps outside, I got my pick of them. And whether you believe that or not is of no consequence to me, because I know what my own reality is and I'm confident in what I bring. So, yeah, there's plenty of opportunities out here, but I don't jump at every opportunity. Like I said, you got to be a hell of a man to make me want to give up my freedom. A hell of a man. That means I'd have to trust you. That means that I would have to think that you're a man of your word, that you say what you mean and you mean what you say. You would have to show me as a man that you want to step in and take care of me and be a provider. Demonstration. See, these are things that women like myself look at. And because I'm no nonsense, you can't sit up here and finesse me. I'm not going to sit up here and listen to you. I don't care how much swag you get. I don't care if you think that you a pimp and you just going to, finagle your way in. It's not going to happen because women like myself look at results. And if I don't see it, then you're not going to be with me. Bro Speak says they take abuse for the low, low price of free. Exactly. No, women like myself don't do that. Michael Israel says, I think respect in a relationship is important. At a certain age, that's all we can realistically hope for. Exactly. Respect is just a minimum requirement, though. Minimum. Because everybody should have, manners, morals, values. That's a minimum. So when a guy steps to me, at minimum, you better know which side of the sidewalk you're supposed to walk on. At minimum, you should know that you're supposed to open doors and pull out chairs. That's the minimum. But at maximum, I had better see that you've been accomplishing things in your own life. I had better see that you've got some successes under your belt. There are things that I have to look at and be able to, how can I say, tangibly see and feel and experience with you. So if you talking like you a high roller, but you want to take me to, I don't know, Applebee's, high rollers don't go to Applebee's. So right away, I understand that you're a liar and a fraud. No, most of the high roller men that I know, they would take me to Michelin 3-star restaurants. One in Phoenix would be Ocean 44. Look it up. He's going to order the most expensive thing off the menu at Benihana's. We're going to go to Nobu. I'm just talking about your 4 and 5-star Michelin 3 restaurants, some of which some of you have never heard of. That's right, Ronald. Women like myself, I'm somebody you'd have to work very hard for. And that is the reason why a lot of guys get angry with my content, because I speak from a place where it's no nonsense. I'm not going to tell women to settle for struggle love. But at the same time, I will tell women to make sure that they cultivate themselves, be able to take care of themselves. Because before a man takes care of you, you are independent first. But when a man comes into your life and he says he wants to be your husband, husband means that he steps in and whatever you were doing for yourself, he's able to do that and some. And so he lightens your load. And if you decide that you want to continue working, you can, but it's just extra, but not needed. And see, this is what a lot of people don't understand, especially men. They would prefer for women to be free. So they will tell you, here's a criteria. If you don't look like Rihanna, Kelly Rowland, or Beyonce, if you're not an 8, 9, or 10, if you're below this 8, 9, or 10, then this is the treatment that you should become accustomed to. And so then they tell you that you should open yourself up to dusty, low achieving men. And here's the game: most people are average looking. There are not a lot of 8, 9, and 10s in this world. The same way there aren't a whole lot of high value men. So the hustle is real. So now that they have gotten you to lower your standards, because that's essentially what it is. When they ask for your dress size and your dress size is not a 6, it's a 14. Well, as a 14, you don't qualify for any good treatment. You don't qualify for a man that's going to treat you like the queen that you are or that you should be. Some of us aren't queens, and I am well aware of that. So when I watched Rue's stream and I saw Danini on there, she's not a size 6. She's average looking. But to me, she's cute. You know, like I said, she gives me Queen Latifah vibes. And this woman, she appears to have bought into the rhetoric. And that's the reason why she sold herself short. So she overlooks a lot of poor treatment. If a man can't even respect you to not flirt with other women in your face, whether it be online or in reality, you have no business being bothered with that. Like I said, for me, if we're just dating, you cheat. And here's the thing for me, cheating doesn't even have to mean that you slept with the woman. You could just go on the woman's Instagram, heart up all her pictures, and put something in her inbox. And that's enough for me to dump you. That's enough. Now that is the faith standard. Play in my face if you want to. Because, see, at this stage in my life, I look for excuses to cut people off. That's less stress in my life. And I'm all about not being stressed out. So I'm not going to get into any angry brawls. I did that when I was young and dumb. I'm just going to walk away until you don't contact me ever again. And if you show up at my door, you will be arrested. I have guys right now that I've cut off, blocked their numbers. Every now and then I might get a phone call from somebody that I blocked, and their call goes directly to voicemail. I'm getting too old to be explaining to you what you did wrong. And a lot of times you already know. Ronald Finkley says, I really rather her stay concentrating on growing up first. Exactly. Exactly. And see, this is why a lot of men, they don't like women who are mature. I'm not going to say older because older doesn't necessarily mean mature. I've seen too many instances here lately, just online, of women in my age group who are not mature at all. And I've seen so many instances of younger women acting with more poise and maturity than women 20 years older than them. So age does not necessarily equal maturity. So a lot of you guys, if you're thinking that you're going to get with these younger women thinking that they're dumb, think again. I really am witnessing that the younger generation is actually smarter than a lot of the women in the older generation. And that is what this whole bum rebellion is about, by the way. A lot of these younger women are not giving a lot of these guys the time of day anymore. And so there's a multitude of frustration out there because a lot of these guys have been used to getting over. And their quest and their search for ignorant women is getting smaller and smaller as women are becoming wiser. And yes, they're becoming wiser at younger ages. So you all like to say women mature faster? You're damn right. They catch on pretty damn fast. So fast, in fact, that the younger generation of women have already started expanding their options. They've already started raising their standards. They've already started choosing better. And so now you got a rash of angry men out here rebelling. Because in the past, what happened is if you shamed a woman and told her she was ugly and she was unfit and somehow that she didn't quite measure up, this would help disarm her and lower her self-esteem. And when a woman has a low sense of self, it does work. She will lower her standards and she will begin to take a lot of abuse off men, put up with things far too long from men that she shouldn't, overlook things far too long from men that she should not be overlooking, as was the case today on Rude's panel with this lady who's in her 40s. Thank you, Ronald Finkley, for the $2 super chat. I really appreciate it. He says, faith. Michael Israel says, I disagree on the stats indicate an increase, not decrease in single mothers. Yeah, there's an increase in single mothers. Michael Israel is correct. What people are referring to in the decrease is the decrease in the overall birth rate. We are not replacing ourselves like we used to. So although we are having fewer children, and yes, we are not bringing our children into the world anymore. These girls are either on birth control, not getting pregnant at all, or they're having abortions. But for the most part, we're not marrying. So when children do come here, they come here out of wedlock 7 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10 because nobody's marrying. But the birth rate is very, very low. So we're having less children and we're also having less marriages. So the single mother rate doesn't have anything to do with promiscuity, but it has a lot to do with the fact that people just aren't choosing to marry. What's up, Chaz B98? So, Michael Israel, I hope that answers your question as to how women are making better choices. See, people think that the high birth rate, the high out of wedlock birth rate speaks to women not making better choices or speaks to some sort of promiscuity. Actually, the promiscuity has always been there. It's just that now women are using birth control or they're having the abortions. We're not bringing the kids here like we used to. We're not replacing ourselves. So, Michael Israel, do not get the out of wedlock birth rate confused with the overall birth rate. They're two different things. And so when we look at the stats, we have to understand how to separate those so that we can know what is going on with our group. Men and women, Black men and Black women alike, are not marrying, period. So this is why there's a high out of wedlock rate. Chaz B98 says they are not having children at all. That is how they make better choices. Exactly. Well said. See, Black women a long time ago, they saw what their mothers went through raising them alone. Or they saw what their mothers went through with their fathers. And a lot of women in my generation and in the millennial generation, they saw their fathers walking out of their lives or outright rejecting them. So now, fast forward to today, you have Generation Z, the women that are in their 20s now, they're saying hell no to giving birth at all. And you have a lot of late millennials that are saying hell no to having children at all. Actually, the number one age group of women that are actually having children in our group are women in their late 30s. And these are Black women who have held off so long from having children. trying to make better choices, Michael Israel, that they held off. And now at the last minute of their biological clock ticking, they make a decision to go on and have a child with or without a mate. So now the highest group of women having children are women in their 30s, their mid to late 30s. That is the growing number of single mothers. So if you are a sociologist or you have a sociologist mindset, you will see the correlation of young Black women holding off, trying to see if they can get a decent partner. And when they still haven't found the decent partner by the time they're in their mid 30s, they make a decision to become a single parent. I hope that answers your question. Exactly, Chaz. The marriage rates just have not increased. So that segues into, once again, me getting right back around to the topic. This is the reason why a lot of women decide to remain single. Because we're out here and we're not seeing guys that are worthy. And we're not seeing guys who really, really want to make a commitment. We're seeing guys that are out here playing. We're seeing Black men that want to play the field all the way through to their 50s and 60s. And they wait until they're old men and before they want to settle down. You have men like this one image consultant who's been divorced twice in his 50s, talking about he can't beat young women off with a stick. And he hasn't made any commitment to anyone since, but gives out a whole lot of relationship advice, and people are eating it up. Chasby98 says the percentage of single mothers is actually stagnant. The raw number is actually decreasing. I haven't checked the stats on that as of late, but that would not surprise me, Chaz, because the number of children that we have has definitely remained stagnant. So it makes sense that the percentage of single mothers is remaining stagnant as well. If we're not birthing the babies, then there aren't going to be a whole lot of single mothers. And so that number will remain stagnant at the women who are currently single mothers. So that does make sense. And see, this is going to take away that shaming talking point that a lot of Black men like to use against Black women, that we're not making better choices and that, you know, we are less than. And as single mothers, we're just good for, you know, having fun with, for having sex, being ran through. That's the talking point. So, you know, like I said, I was over on Rue's panel earlier looking at Danini, and she seems to be a byproduct of this type of treatment, because she seems to have definitely accepted that she's not good enough for anything better. And here's my take on that. As long as you have breath in your body, as long as you have 2 arms, 2 legs, you're healthy and in your right mind, you deserve a better life. Don't let anyone come into your psyche and try to tell you that you are less than and you don't deserve anything good, because that's a lie. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. And if anyone tells you otherwise, well, they are a predator and they have a predatory mindset. And not only that, but they're probably trying to hold you back so that they can get something better. There's a lot of people, a lot of women that'll dirty Mac on you. They'll say, oh, I don't know why you're looking at Chaz. Just using Chaz as an example, not saying this is her. I don't know why you're looking at Chaz. This is what another woman might say if she wants to dirty Mac on Chaz. She has 3 kids by 3 different daddies. I don't have any kids. I'm a better choice than her. She's a nobody. She doesn't deserve you or anybody like you. I'm the one that's supposed to have you. Or it could be a man dirty macking on Chaz. He might want her, but he might see that another guy is looking at her and he'll say, she's a single mother. She's not worth it. You don't want that. You don't want that dirty thing over there. And run all the guys off from Chaz. And then he takes his dusty behind over there and says, here I am, baby. Come take me. Because that's all this is. That's all of this. All of this. This is just one big dirty macking session. So the guys that really want Chaz will run away. The other guys, they say Chaz ain't worth it. She ain't this. She ain't that. And then they step right in after everybody's gone. Or the women dirty macking because they want the guys they're looking at Chaz. So that's all it is. But if Chaz knows her worth and she carries herself in such a way that she knows her worth, it's going to be undeniable. And that's the reason why a lot of Black men got mad at women like Sierra, Serena Williams, Gabby Sidibe, Tarana Burke. A lot of guys got mad at these women because they defied all of their shaming talking points. And they began to give regular women who are in their similar situation hope. So the next thing they move to is, well, these women are, they have money, they have millions. You regular women can't compare yourselves to them. So that's the next moving of the goalpost. Because only celebrities get to be the exception. I'm just telling you the nonsense language that you hear, that they use to try to break you down as an individual. And I'm telling you not to let any of that in. I see a lot of women using the same talking points against other women, by the way. Women telling other women, well, you're ugly, you're not as pretty as me, and you can't get the type of men that I get. Once again, this is indoctrination, shaming language. I know plenty of regular average women who have leveled up, who have expanded their options and dated out, and who are in secure, loving relationships. So, my thought to tell you is don't believe the hype. D. Durrell says, reality, a lot of guys overlook a woman with children. That is a delusional manosphere talking point. You know what, D. Durrell? I would say this. In reality, a lot of guys that as you say are high value, and to be honest with you, there are not a whole lot of high value men in our community. Let's just be honest. You're right. They have access to the creme de la creme. So they will overlook a woman with children because they have access to so many different women. But how many black men can actually say that they fit that mold? Because in reality, I see a lot of regular people getting with other regular people. So when the smoke clears, women with children are getting wiped up. Yes, they are. Regular looking women are getting wiped up. Michael Israel says celebs and the masses live different lives. That's a fact. Drawing comparisons with them is fallacy. Yeah, here's the thing, Michael Israel. I'm not saying that people should compare themselves with celebrities at all. Um, for example, I would not compare myself financially with a woman like Serena Williams because I don't have access to the people in her circle. So Serena Williams would be more likely to get a high value non-black man because she's in those circles where the high value non-black men are. So that's how she was able to level up, right? And let's face it, these women, they're not getting with your regular schmegular broke men. These guys have just as much money, if not more than them. And they definitely have more connections. So in that sense, I wouldn't say that any regular schmegular black woman should compare themselves to Serena. But on a regular schmegular level, just like regular black women, Serena spent a great deal of her dating life only dealing with black men on her level. And they used her body as a playground. None of them wanting to commit. And people said that it was because she was manly and undesirable. This is the same thing that regular black women are accused of. Regular black women. So there are similarities. And so it's those similarities that I compare, not the connections, not the money. Oh, okay. D. Durrell is saying he meant a lot of men don't care if a woman has children. It depends on how many and her overall value. Exactly. A lot of times, when men are looking at women, they're looking at, as far as like when they're going to marry. I hear a lot of guys, and I listen to men. They say that they look at a woman's demeanor. So it's not just about her looks, because a lot of guys, based off of looks, they'll sleep with, anything. I don't judge a guy based off of what he'll take to bed with him, because men will take anything to bed with him, from the Tarana Burks to the Kelly Rowlands. They'll pretty much sleep with anything. So you can't really go by that. But you judge a man by the women that he is actually committed to in his lifetime. The women that he's actually committed to will tell you a lot about that man. And that the women that he's committed to are fit, beautiful women that carry themselves in a ladylike manner. They all have pretty much the same background. Then that is the type of women that he's looking at as marriage material. So instead of looking at what turns his head, because I'm telling you, there's some strange things out here that'll make a guy turn his head. Some strange stuff. But if you look at the women that he actually took seriously, that he was actually passionately in love with, that'll tell you a hell of a lot more. Exactly, D. Darrell. More options don't mean better options. Oh, he's talking to someone in the chat. Chaz says most black men don't appreciate childless women like they say. I have been hearing stuff since my early 20s from both men and women questioning why I don't have children. Yeah, I've heard that before too. It's all about character. If you are a childless woman that carries yourself like a thought, like you don't care, like you're pretty loose, no man is going to respect you, irregardless of the fact if you're childless or not. If he stands you next to a woman with 2 or 3 children, and if that woman with 2 or 3 children looks good, carries herself like a lady, and she moves in such a way that she shows herself to be more wifey material than you, then that man is going to choose her irregardless of the fact that she had those children, because her character stands out and shines brighter than the fact that she has any children. And this is what doesn't get discussed out here in these cyberspaces. That these guys are out here getting played a lot of times by the so-called Instagram models. And some of them are kind of crazy. And so when they run up on a woman that's sane, well put together, it don't matter if she got kids or not. She's a breath of fresh air. And I know a lot of men that done went through the gamut with so many different types of women. So it don't matter if you don't have children, if you have children. If you have children and you're a hoe, you got hoe-like tendencies, you're a trollop, you seem to be loose, you got crazy mannerisms, they're going to avoid you like the plague. They may sleep with you. They may trick off a little money on you, but they ain't going to take you seriously. The lady with class is always going to beat you out. So class is going to be a game changer. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Chaz says black men and black women promote single motherhood. Childless women are viewed negatively once they hit early 20s. You start hearing them question why you don't have children. They never inquire about marriage first. She's absolutely right. In our group, we really don't value marriage at all. There's a lot of people out here that they try to pass off the spiritual marriage as being a real marriage. I've heard even men do this. Oh, we spiritually married. We don't need no paper. So no, it's not really valued in our community. Chaz is absolutely right. And so with that spiritual marriage mentality running around in our community, there's a lot of people with spiritual married children. There are a lot of children's being born in this spiritual marriage. And so these people, they don't value single people that don't have children as much because they themselves have partaken in these so-called spiritual unions and made these illegitimate children. But back to the games that a lot of these men play, and the reason why a lot of women say to hell with being with anybody. Now, it's a hell of a mind fuck, right? When you finally let your guard down and you finally open your heart up a little bit to somebody and say, you know what? This guy hits all the marks. He's high value. He seems to be a quality individual. He says what he means and means what he says. His demonstration is impeccable. And so then you begin to lower your guard with this person. And then one day, you call and he doesn't answer the phone. Now, you guys talk at the same time every day. This is a pattern. And then one day, he doesn't come by and visit you on the day that you all normally see each other. And then all of a sudden, there are lapses of time where you don't even know where he is. And then the excuses come. And in the back of your mind, you're wondering, why are things changing all of a sudden? Why all of a sudden your calls are being bumped over to voicemail? And why does it seem like he calls you only after you've called him? See, these are things that make you go, because it's outside of the normal pattern. And you all know what your normal relationship patterns are like. All of a sudden, he doesn't have as much time as he used to have. And it seems as if the times that he had for you, he's telling you that he's got other projects and things going on. Or he's sleeping during the time that you all would normally be talking on the phone. Changing patterns. So it's a total mind fuck when you finally let down your guard and then this person does this. And so you are a rational thinking woman, because that's how I am. I'm talking about women like myself. Rational and thinking women like myself would think that this is odd behavior, because rational and thinking women, we pick up on changes in patterns. But instead of outright accusing anyone, what you do is you sit back and you observe. You just observe. And sure as shit stinks, what is done in the dark will come to the light. Because a man cannot be in two places with two different people at one time. There's always going to be somebody that suffers in the long run. And I don't care how crafty a guy thinks he is with running game. Like I said, critical thinking women like myself, we recognize changes in patterns. And that's the first thing I look for, a break in the pattern. So when that pattern breaks and there's no logical explanation for it, well, then I'm going to have to deduce to myself that something new has been introduced. Because there's always something else, right? You don't have to go through anybody's phone. You don't have to pop up at their house. But you just know. So what ends up happening is their slick behind is trying to whittle away time with the new person. And so that's going to cut into some of his time that he used to spend with you. And how you know it's bullshit. See, guys like to make up excuses. They'll say work, something like work, and they'll give you actual events. You don't have to check on the phone. You don't have to do any type of following him or stalking him or any of that, or any of those things. When he gives you an event and he says that he was doing it, it's real easy to figure it out whether or not it's true. It's real easy, especially if you're a woman that's been a part of his life. You're going to know his friends. You're going to know some of his business colleagues. These people you can just bring up in casual conversation about the event that he lied about. I used to do this all the time, just casually. Oh, yeah, I heard about the such and such that you know went to and blah blah blah. And if the person don't know what the hell you're talking about, you got them. Usually, usually these other people will always out them out because they're not going to tell their business colleagues or their bosses that they're lying to you. Maybe a friend or a relative, I wouldn't put them in the scenario. But it's just one of the things that I would do to kind of casually figure out whether or not somebody's on bullshit. I'm looking here at the chat. Oh, you guys are listening intently, aren't you? there's always there's always 99.9 ways to skin a cat without you having to really go out of your way. But here's one thing for sure, and this is a standard that I have for myself. If you have to cancel on me more than 3 times, that's a deal breaker. A person constantly canceling on you, a person constantly not being available and present in the relationship, that's a deal breaker. That means something else is going on, especially if there's no logical reason. You don't really need to hear his explanation after that. And see, for a lot of women, that's hard for you to do. It's hard for you to walk away when there are obvious signs that the person is on BS. For me, I never wait until the woman is knocking at my car window. I don't have time for that. Not that I haven't done that in the past when I was young. Because like I said, I used to have some humdinger fights. But at this age, not anymore. Because I've gotten hip to the game. Already know the signs before they get there. So I don't need a confrontation. But for a lot of women, y'all need that visual confirmation. You got to see the text messages. You got to see it and talk to the other woman. For me, all I need to see is too many instances of you not being available. That's it. If you are not available for me, why should I be available for you? If I get too many calls where I'm automatically sent to the voicemail, numerous occasions, if I get too many times where days go by and you're not calling me, well, that's enough. That is enough. And so that is the reason why some women decide to become the cat lady and become single by choice, because nobody really wants to keep playing those games. I know I choose not to. So yeah, there is a segment of women out here that really ain't for none of the nonsense. Michael Israel says women need to understand men act on desire. The art of creating a desire has been lost. People now make demands. leads to conflict. Introspective examination is helpful. I somewhat agree with that, Michael Israel. I do. Men are very visual and they do act on desire. And because I know this to be true, there aren't too many men that I will fool with. Because not only do you guys act on desire, but society has made it so that you don't have to be held accountable for it. And so there are a lot of women that have to make the decision whether or not they want to play that game, because this is the society that we live in, where it's okay for guys to act on impulse, but not okay for women. And women are just supposed to grin and bear it, or act it, or pretend that we don't see it. And I'm one of those that's just not willing to do that. Chaz says women can't afford to act on desire. No, it's not the same for us. If we act on desire, we run a chance of unwanted pregnancy. We run the chance of a tarnished reputation. And we run the chance of becoming too emotionally attached, because women, we get imprinted a lot, how can I say, a lot faster than men. So no, we can't afford to. And this is why you see women losing their minds. Literally. This is why you see women up on panels defending men who are disrespecting them in plain sight. Because they would rather have a piece of a man than no man at all. Not too long ago, I think it was Dita Rail and I Am Verbal was on a panel with myself and CK. And I Am Verbal was talking about a song. It's an old song. I wish I could remember the name of that song. But basically, she was describing the song to us. And she was talking about how in the song, the woman was saying, no pain, no gain. That was the name of the song. No pain, no gain. So basically, in the song, the woman was saying that women would have to put up with pain in order to gain a man. That was pretty much the gist of it. No pain, no gain. And see, in my world, I say, why put up with the pain at all? I'm not willing to. Because, see, I've had my fair share of heartache and losing my mind and pulling my hair out over men who weren't worthy. It's actually much more fulfilling to have a peace of mind. But when I get to talking like this, there are a lot of men that find it disturbing, because heaven forbid women find out that they can be happy by themselves, that they have plenty of options, and one of those options is to choose you. And no, you will not have an unfulfilled life. No, you will not be alone. It's just that you will not put yourself in position to open your heart up to people, to men that will hurt you. So, yeah, you'll go have your fun because I had my fun, right? Or I had my fun before I settled in with the guy that I'm with. And I felt very peaceful because I was in control of who I allowed into my life and into my psyche. And there is a certain amount of peace that comes with knowing that you can go to bed at nighttime and not worry about being cheated on. Because, hey, if you don't have a man, nobody's cheating on you. Nobody's embarrassing you. Nobody's bringing you back a STD. Nobody is going out here getting somebody pregnant and wanting you to accept it. Nobody's playing with other women in your face. Nobody is switching up the routine and giving you less of their time. These are the games that you avoid when you choose you first. And the standard is you don't choose no less than that. And so by me having that standard, I met someone who puts us first. And he understands what my standards are and that I'm very much no nonsense. Oh, wow. Commendable K with the $100 super chat. He said, don't cancel on faith, y'all. Good to hear another great night stream. Where there's smoke, there is fire. But fire can cook food. Nothing wrong with being happily single. But don't throw away treasure before you know the value. You can't have a yin without your yang. Exactly. Yes, lack of respect is what I'm talking about. And trust me, there's a lot of lack of respect out here. Have you ever considered that the men you're choosing is due to something in you attracts you to these types? Not all men are cads. Look at Dita Rail. Exactly. There was something in me at the time that I pretty much attracted some of these men to me. But then again, after I realized what it was and worked on myself, there were still guys coming to me, with the nonsense. But the only difference is I was able to see the nonsense and not give them the time of day. So just because you work on yourself and you're able to see the nonsense, it doesn't mean that it's going to stop these guys from trying you. It just means that you're more self aware, you have your standards, and you know what you will and will not put up with. And so the woman who is by herself isn't by herself because she made the wrong choices. She's by herself because she refuses to make the wrong choice anymore. So no, it's not that broken people always attract broken people, because there's always going to be that element of trash that tries to come into your life, whether you're broken or not. Believe it or not, Michael, there are actually men out here that will try to enter a woman's life knowing he ain't shit. And he's just hoping that she will fall for it. Exactly, Chaz. Whole people attract broken people too. Exactly. And I'm a living testimony to that. Because I know I'm whole. I know I bring a lot to the table. And trust me, they still come. They try. But just because they try doesn't mean that they have to prevail. And so, therefore, the woman that says happily single is the one that wins. But the woman that says no pain, no gain, that's the one that loses. Chaz B98 says broken people try to convince whole people. Exactly. Happens all the time. But if you are a broken woman, a broken person can finesse you. Like I said, just go back and watch Rude's panel and you will see it in real time. But when you are a whole person, you can recognize that broken person a lot clearly. Yes, Chaz, broken people try to convince you that you are also broken. Exactly. Because what they'll do is they'll look at your poor decisions that you made early on in your life. And then, even though you have worked on yourself and cultivated yourself and become a totally different person, they'll still try to make you believe that you are still that broken person because you have made a mistake. Yes, Michael Israel real does know real. And I also know snakes when I see them too. Thank you, Jason Schaffner. He says, looking good in that thumbnail with them thick, nice legs. True, but not everybody gets to touch these thick, nice legs. These thick, nice legs are for the man that I have in my personal life. But even if I was by myself, not any man will get a chance to touch these thick, nice legs. I'm selfish like that. But yeah, when I became more self aware, it was funny to me when my eyes became completely open, the clowns that would come to me with their clown talk, as CK would call it, and try to convince me to sell myself short for them. And so the the lady in the thumbnail with thick, nice legs, got deduced to a baby mama. This is what I'm talking about. Ugly. The lady in the thumbnail with the thick, nice legs was called ugly, a baby mama. All manner of things to make me feel bad about myself. Too dark, not good enough, and all of that, right? Because I'm supposed to feel as if I'm not worthy of what I know I am worthy of. And so these thick, nice legs can be open to the public, right? Wrong. They are so wrong. So, yeah, ladies, be selfish because you are the prize. And a lot of these guys will sit up here and try to devalue you so that you can mark yourself down so that they can get you at a discount. What's up, Sheila E., the Quiet Storm? Let's see. It's been an hour and 38 minutes in. Commendable case says thick thighs save lives. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, the reason why a lot of women, well, not a lot, but some women like myself would say, hey, you know what, I'm single by choice. I don't want to be bothered with the games that are being played out here. Those women are not crazy. Actually, those women got more sense than the women that sit up here and they take a lot of crap off of unworthy men. Those women that say single by choice and mean it, they have a meaning behind why they say it. Because there are some women that say single by choice, but they don't really mean it. They're really wishing that they can hurry up and get into a situation where they can get with somebody, anybody. I'm not talking about those women. Those are the women that are making excuses and trying to save face. But I'm talking about women that really say this and mean it. There's a reason why. When you get good and tired and fed up of putting up with nonsense, that's when you start to choose yourself over that nonsense. And those women are not crazy. They're not cat ladies. They're not the undesirables. Because, like I said, there are plenty of women like myself with these thick thighs that turn a lot of heads out here. They can pretty much get any man she wants. And we say, hell no, I'd rather be by myself. Because we are not up for the games. And it takes a hell of a man to make women like me want to give up that freedom and peace of mind. And see, when more women start to value their freedom and their peace of mind and hold that near and dear to them as a trophy, and when more women tell themselves that if a man cannot come into my life and add value to the peace of mind and the standard of living that I've already acquired for myself. And when I say add value, he comes in not disturbing your peace by bringing you a bunch of nonsense and drama. And he adds value by making things a lot easier for you financially. Like I said, he'd have to be a hell of a man for you to want to give up your freedom and peace of mind. But a lot of women are giving up their freedom and their peace of mind for chaos and heartache. These are women that don't put a lot of value on themselves. And these are the women that have fed into the rhetoric that she's going to die alone and that that's the worst thing that could ever happen to her. And these are women that have fed into the rhetoric that she needs a man to validate her worthiness as a woman. And I'm not at all saying that women don't need a man. We really don't need a man. I'm just going to be honest with you. Nobody really needs anybody. But there's nothing wrong with wanting someone special in your life that adds value and makes things easier for you. And the main takeaway I want everybody to walk away from this live, anyone listening, is if they're not adding value or making anything easier for you, if they're coming into your life with a bunch of drama and turmoil, it was not worth it. I don't care how many nice family photos you all look good in. If every day you wake up and this man is driving you to the brink of insanity because he keeps lying to you and he keeps playing in your face and he keeps disrespecting you and he doesn't provide anything, then those pictures in your photo book or on your Instagram or on your Facebook page mean nothing. Exactly, bro. Speak. No peace, no relationship. Commendable K says, if you give up freedom and peace of mind, you don't have a relationship. You have imprisonment. A significant other should help you extend your freedom and peace, not take it away. Well said. Very well said. And Michael Israel says, commendable K, if a relationship is imprisonment, you have no sense entering in, or you have no business entering in. So now I'm just going on 2 hours into the live stream. I may stay on longer. What I'm going to do, hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and open up the panel. I think I've been gone through this monologue for far too long. Normally, I would have opened the panel up a long time ago, but since I'm up and you guys are up, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. There it is. And anybody that wants to come up and add their 2 cents to the discussion, you can. If nobody's come up by the 2-hour mark, then we're going to end it where it's at. But I have noticed a lot of times when women say that they're single by choice, people laugh at them and they tell them, oh, that couldn't be true because a woman couldn't possibly choose to be alone. And like I said, there aren't a whole lot of women that fit the same mold as me. I'm in a very small minority of women that know exactly what I do when I say I'm single by choice, what I did when I was single by choice. I'm not single anymore. Well, if you're not married, you're single, but you know what I mean. I'm in a relationship right now, but let's see here. Who is this? Uh-oh, Sheila E. The Quiet Storm. Hold on a second. Hey, what's up, Sheila E?
Good morning, sis. I love this topic right here. Because, after my divorce, I decided to stay single, celibate, and I plan on doing that for the rest of my life. So, you hitting on a good topic here. You really is.
Well, thank you. So, what made you decide to stay single? What were some of the things that you looked at when you were out here in the dating world, and you said, you know what, I'm going to be by myself?
Okay, being married at a young age, being married for 25 years, being really locked up in a relationship for 30 years, and it was all about catering to my husband, my children, and just pleasing them. And knowing when you in a relationship and you in a marriage, it's not about you, it's about us. So after my divorce, and I had gave so much to my husband and my children, my family, make sure they had. And at the divorce, I did just say, you know what? I decide to be single because now what do Sheila want in life? What do Sheila want to do? Because I done gave all to my husband and to my children. Now it's about me because I know if I'm going back into another relationship, it's not about Sheila again. It's about us. And see, a lot of people don't know that when you involved with somebody, it's not about you no more. You got to cater to them, what they like, what they don't like, get to know them and stuff. So I decided to just stay by myself and, enjoy life.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that because women, as women, we do give a lot of ourselves to our families. And I think a lot of people, especially men, don't understand that. When you become a mother, your life is pretty much given over to your children. And when you become a wife, your life is given over to your husband. And
Yeah.
we as women, we're expected to take care of everybody, the sick, the young,
Yes.
our husbands, everyone. And so you can begin to lose a little bit of yourself in doing all of that. So when you come to the point where you're no longer bound by those things, you do want to start focusing on yourself again because you spent so much of your life sacrificing for other people.
Yeah. And but you know what, Faith? To me, it wasn't a burden because I knew what my job, my duty was a wife to please my husband. So it wasn't a burden. That's what I love to do because the end of the day is that's what my marriage was about, love. And I wanted the best for him and my kids. So when he came home from work, the dinner was ready. I mean, his bath water, his cologne, his pajamas, his clothes, everything was ready for him. And it was not a burden. Even though I worked, he worked. I had a pleasure doing them. And see, when you love someone, what you do is not a burden. You just love doing what you do, and it's just easy. So,
Yeah,
and
and
I just,
it wasn't a burden for me. Sheila, I relate to you because your story sounds very similar to mine. Because when my husband was alive and I had to do for him and do for my children, I did so happily. It was like
yes,
you said, not a burden. But then when the smoke clears and everybody's grown and
hmm,
different changes in your life, you shift into a portion of your life where you begin to reflect and in that reflection you begin to see that you spent a lot of your time just giving to others and not doing for yourself as much.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you mean. But I do want to go ahead and welcome. This is one of my favorite ladies. I love this lady, Koja Malik. What's going on, lady?
Nothing, just listening to y'all and taking my little 5 minute break to chime in. And I know women at a point we get to an age when you done been through the bad relationships till you say, I just need a time out. It ain't like I wanted to take the time out, but you just say enough is enough. I don't have the energy to do this anymore. So, I ain't saying I'm gonna be celibate for life, but for a little bit, I need a time out because, it's like everything that's coming is some BS. So sometimes you just need to take time out and regroup. And I think cause I have a coworker, I'm 46, and we've been working together for a long time. And she probably at the age where I was when I said the same thing. And I hear women around their 30s, mid to late mid 30s, early mid 30s to say, you know what, I think I'm just destined to be by myself because they have so little to choose from. And in these little small towns, it's even worse. And I hear a lot of them just say, I'm not, I'm just going to, and I say, girl, you ain't going to be forever. You're just going to take a time out and get yourself. Sometimes you got to get a hobby. You might not become the cat lady, but I became the gardening lady. So, there's nothing wrong. And I think a Yellow Van saying taking the time out to heal yourself, to go and regroup and refresh your mind. Because either you dumb yourself down, and Lupe Fiasco had this song called Dumb It Down. And a lot of saying, like you're too black, you're too this, you're too that. And what I learned, I was on a panel the other night, and these men do divide and conquer. They go across the races. Now they telling the white girl, you been around these black girls too long. Your mouth getting just as snappy as her. We going to the Asians, and they do divide and conquer, and they pit us against each other. And I ain't gonna even just say it's black women. We get the brunt of it the most. But they dividing us up, and if we don't dumb ourselves down and lower our have no standards, because it ain't even lowering your standards, you're going to get caught up. So sometimes you just say, time out. And,
Exactly.
and then one day, maybe that person will come along. And until then, you go on your cruises with your girls. You go on your Vegas weekends when we get over this COVID, and you live your life in the meantime till you find, or till that person find you, if that happens. And so,
Yeah, and just don't be in a rush, just to be with somebody just to say you got somebody, because there's a lot of that going on out here, and it's sad to see, real sad. Like I said, today I saw in real time on Rudum's panel a
what
woman
was
that
that?
seemed. Did you see that?
I was like, what did I come into? I know I came in on the middle of the movie, and I don't know what was happening, but because Aries 504, and he was on the panel with us. Was it last week, late at night? You were doing one, and then I was like, what's going on here? Because I didn't really know. I just came in on the end, but it must have been something before I came to YouTube land.
Yeah, it was a matter where she had
Ignore
called
that.
another woman out her name, called the woman a hoe, and it was unprovoked. And basically, a lot of people were speculating, or what Rude was speculating, that she only called that woman out her name probably because she was insecure and jealous of this woman, because this is a woman that her husband had been stalking all over the internet, and not only just this woman, but other women had been coming to her and asking her to get her husband under control because he's out here making you look pretty bad, sis.
Yeah, we all had them situations in the real world. Or your friend, one of them. I love the way you arch my eyebrows, but I can't stand sitting in your chair because I really like your wife, and I really don't like that you be trying to flirt with me while you arching my eyebrows. So, and you can't go to them and tell them because they'll fall out with you before they fall out with that man, and that
Right.
sometimes that's what we do because we
and,
don't want to
and
see it.
and that's exactly what happened. That she kind of called this woman out her name unprovoked, and it's because, like Rude said, that man is driving her crazy, And see, that is the reason why a lot of women like myself, like Sheila, like you, say single by choice, because we don't want to deal with those types of games, and nor should we.
Right.
I would much rather be by myself than be unhappy with somebody that's playing in my face, and just basically playing all types of games. It'd take a hell of a man for me to say I'm ready to give up my freedom and my peace of mind.
Hey,
I,
I was gonna say something, Faith. I'm be honest. Today, not all of them, but some of them, they don't have no standards and morals. It's like I'm Generation X. Like, where's the respect? You know? I mean, it's like this generation, everything goes, and it's sad. It's really sad.
It is. But I have a question for the both of you, starting with Sheila E., the Quiet Storm. Sheila E., are you Sheila E. from the old Prince band?
No, Sheila is my name.
You sure you don't have a drum or something back there?
Nah, no. I wish I could play drums. Bongos, yeah, no drums.
But the question is, what type of man would it take for you to change your mind about being single by choice?
If I had a type of man, it would be someone who loved the Lord, someone who a people person, good communication, someone intelligent, someone who had patience, and someone who really have empathy and sympathy for people.
Mm. And all of those are very important traits.
Hmm.
How about you, Coach Malik?
oh, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm married. I married about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was celibate for 6 years. I had like one or two here and there, two indiscretions, but other than that, I was celibate for the most part for about 6 years. But I hadn't been in a relationship or anything, and I
So,
met the
so
guy.
what was the thing that made you decide to give up your celibacy and being single?
I was open. I just didn't think I was gonna meet anybody, and then we started talking, and we talked a long time over the phone because he was busy and I was busy, and then we just met and started. Plus, he said he'll move to the country in the backwoods with me. So I took a city mouse. And he said, I want to move to the backwoods. You coming? He said, I'm coming. So, and we've been on the same page and, stuff. So we're doing pretty good so far. We done purchased a home. We only been married a year. And he finna make my farming dreams come true. We finna try to do a farm. And he was kind of similar ideas and things, even though he was from the city in Miami and I'm from the country. And it just worked. He a little bit older than me.
That's
Well,
good.
congratulations, congratulations. So
Thanks.
you guys had a lot of compatibility.
Yeah, he used to like doing outdoor stuff. He don't do it so much anymore. He used to like scuba dive and stuff. I like and different things like that and like being outside. And so when I was gardening, he seemed to, I came and put him to work in the garden and he did okay. And then he said he's gonna move in the middle of the woods with me. So, we really been doing well so far. He have
Okay,
a
and he
8 year
has
old.
he has not brought any type of drama into your life.
No, we just haven't in the first year, because October come up, it'll be 2 years we've been married. But in the first year, we had growing pains because I had been by myself for a long time. Like I say, 6 years celibate. And so, just learning how to talk to each other and compromise, but we're on the same page when it comes to finances and, being accountable to each other. It's like we got a rule. Neither one of us can spend over $100 without the other person's permission because we got goals and different things. So both of the standards and the rules we go by for each other are the same. Ain't no you get to do this and I get to do that. So it was some arguing, some talking, and going to my godmother, who was a preacher and counselor in the church, and going through them things. But we knew going in that it wasn't gonna be all peaches and cream. I said, let us argue now and get that stuff out the way, because we're gonna have them little couple of arguments now and get it out the way, and then move forward. And so it's working.
Well, that's good. That's wonderful. All right. So now I see here that we have a man, Sir Anthony. What's going on?
I'm good, Sister Faith. Greetings.
Hey,
Good morning.
Greetings, Sheila E. and Coach Malik. How
Yeah.
are you?
good.
Wonderful. I put a question in the chat and I didn't want it to go overlooked because, in regards to this topic, as far as single women choosing to be single, I was wondering if having children oftentimes makes that an easier choice to make when you can have that company around.
I think so. I think when my kids got to be teenagers, I was like, it's going to be a lot of drama with somebody coming in, because we already had our teenage drama. So that was definitely paid. It's like, there's too much chaos to be trying to have a relationship with somebody who already acting a fool and your kids acting a fool. So, that did play a small part for me.
Thank you. So, do you think that's partially what a lot of women might be saying when they say that they're single by choice, because they actually have this buffer in their lives that allows them to be single by choice and have meaning in life and fulfillment through their children and not through a relationship with a significant other?
Well,
Well,
see, for me, I didn't really make the single by choice until after my children were grown and out of the home. So there wasn't a buffer there for me at all. What was there for me was just not wanting to go through a lot of pain of dealing with different guys that would take me through drama. So, rather than go through all of that, I decided to just go and be by myself. Michael Israel put something in the chat. He says, fear holds back women, is what I'm hearing, though. And that may be somewhat true, but I don't think it was necessarily fear, Michael Israel. I'm just responding to you. But it was just basically being tired of going through the same gamut over and over again of disrespect. And so rather than go through that gamut of disrespect, I started to hold back and work on myself and building my self esteem. And in doing so, I began to raise my standards. And when my standards being raised as high as they are, I realized that there were going to be certain things I just wasn't going to take, and because of that, there were going to be a lot of guys that I would have to bypass. So that's just what the reality of it was.
and I don't think it's fear. If you been out there and you're gonna been through trauma behind trauma and you see nothing out there, why just pick something? Like when you go in the store hungry at nighttime and you ain't got time to get what you want, you just grab something off the shelf and then you get home, you're like, I ain't even want this, or it wasn't even good for me. So I don't think it's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm been out here for a while and I ain't meeting nothing. I'm gonna just take time and work on me. Cause in the process, maybe I ain't seeing something, cause I can't go no lower, or I'm not gonna go any lower than what I see going on. Cause I ain't see a lot of functional relationships. But like I said, I'm in a small town, and I had went from the high school to the master's degree, from the young to the old, and it was older, and it was all a bunch of mess. So I was like, you know what, maybe it's time to just, be by yourself. Plus, it wasn't a lot to choose from, so it wasn't hard. But I don't think it makes you afraid. I think it makes you smart to say, hey, let me take a time out. You ain't taking time out forever. Then maybe at some point people may say, I want to take time out forever, but maybe they just need a break. There's a break, and then you go back in, because you can only deal with so much drama. And if you got your kids and you got they that mess, you're like, am I gonna allow this dysfunctional man to be in my life and be a poor example to my children? and stuff, because you do have an obligation to them. So I don't know if it's fear. I just think it's being smart, because if we don't die today, we got time. And if we die, it don't matter.
Well, can I ask you this?
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So, Coach Malik, you mentioned children though,
Hmm.
and I think that children are an obstacle in a sense i- in all this, because even if you do try to have you know a man in your life, and then you have children from a previous relationship, that causes complexities that make it difficult to even have a relationship.
Well,
So
I'm 40.
then once things go bad, then you know you can start having the mindset like, oh, I'm single by choice after that, and going celibate for years. And I've been celibate myself, so I understand all about what goes into that.
Yes.
But once again, having the children can complicate things with a relationship, and then they can create comfort after a failed relationship.
Well, the children are going to always be there no matter what age you're in. So I was willing to say I'm never going to date again, because regardless if they're grown or if they're still in the home. Right now, soon as about 5 months ago, my husband's daughter, 23-year-old daughter, came to live in the house. And it's been a roller coaster. So, whether they're little, or that's just something, unless you're just going to say I'm not going to have kids, they're there, you can't go and undo them. So you make a decision, do you want to stay with them or not, and how much stuff that you can have on your plate at the time. Like I say, if you don't die, you got time. And right now, my three sons are grown, and my son told my husband, he got all his little girlfriends and stuff. He like, thank you for making my mom happy. Now you could go in the yard with her and I don't have to. So
Oh, that's nice.
but yeah, everything
Well,
ain't gonna
sir,
be leave it to Beaver.
Sir Anthony, I was looking at your comment down here in the comment section, and you said, "Can you be single by choice if you have a reverse Oedipus complex?" I'm not really familiar with the term Oedipus complex. Can you explain that to us?
Well, the Oedipus complex is, like like a son who has an infatuation with his mother. So the reverse of
Mm.
that would be the mother. The reverse would be the mother having some, feelings, not necessarily sexual feelings, but when we've all heard about mothers using their sons as their man, or being their girlfriends to their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was getting at with that question, and I pretty much already put it to you guys here in the panel.
Faith, can I say something?
Yeah,
And
go ahead, Sheila.
I don't want to be judged with this, but this just the way I think as an older woman over 50. I started live my life. Now I have a grandson. When I was 50, my daughter gave me a beautiful grandson. And I do a lot of things with him. He started swimming at 5 months and stuff. So, and I looked at 50, after I've been married for 25 years, locked down for 30. Why should I go a man? Because I know a man, I look younger for my age. Why should I try to get back into a relationship? I think this is my time to be the best grandmother I can be with my grandson. And I don't think that's being putting my life on hold or anything like that. Because a lot of people say, "Sure, you need to live your life." But I'm saying, you know what? I just want to be the best grandmother. I think I have lived my life. Now I could do trips with my grandson and my son-in-law and my daughter, my kids and stuff. So I decided, just 50 years old. Who want to date at the age of 50? Some do. Don't get me wrong. But I decide not to, and just be the best grandmother I could be, and a mother. Mother.
And
What?
everybody has to make the decision for themselves. Used to work with them Jewish people. They live to about 100 and something. Hell, they'll be 80 years old getting remarried. Now, some of the women done decided they don't want to, but I guess we're the only, maybe because we don't see so many marriages and stuff. But them people will be 76 years old walking down the aisle. So Shirley E., you got time. You may even be raising your grandchildren. But everybody should do what they need to do for themselves at the time. And if that's what you need to do, you don't have to feel guilty about it. You do it. You did it for 25 years. So you definitely should have a time for yourself. And if you want to focus on your grandkids, to do.
Right, and it sounds like you found a spot in your life where you know exactly where your fulfillment lies,
Mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with that. You know yourself, you know what it is that fulfills your life, and you're going after it. You're pursuing it. It doesn't sound to me like you're missing out on anything.
Right.
And can I also ask, to Sheila E's point, she's spending time with her grandchild and she's looking forward to that. Her ship has already sailed. So to ask the question, being single by choice, this is what I'm asking. Does it apply to women in this stage of life? Now, if it were a young woman who was in her 20s, maybe even her 30s, possibly even to her 40s, depending on her relationship history, it might factor in more. But once you've had children and now talking about grandchildren, what are we talking about being single by choice for? Does it even apply?
Thank you. And I like how you put that because a lot of people would say over 50 and older, oh, because I'm thinking about choice. You still have some older women want to date. You do. So I just say for me, I'm not judgmental. My sisters want to do it. Hey, like she said, you got some 70, 80 years old. I know one just turned 60 and got married. So, but I just chose to, be the best grandmother I could be. And I do a lot of advocacy for younger women and, register the people vote. So I do a lot of things that I think my time is over with when it comes to relationship.
Well, I think I understand what Sir Anthony's getting at. If and correct me if I'm wrong here, Sir Anthony. So what you're saying is like when a woman is past her prime, like in her mid 40s and up.
I wouldn't use those terms. I'm just saying had her, she's given forth her children,
Hmm.
and she's had relationships that obviously haven't succeeded for whatever reason. So now to say single by choice almost is a moot point at that point. She's already, I don't know if we could say single by choice. She's given it a try, and it didn't work.
But
So
what
so now
define
move on to the next chapters in life. Enjoy your grandchildren, enjoy your children, but don't. But save us the vitriol, I guess. And the chest pounding of saying, "Oh, I'm single by choice." That applies to a younger woman, and if she could
but
do
I
that,
don't see men saying that I'm 50 years old. I'm gonna be single by choice. A man that's 50 years old, hell, might be even starting another family.
but
So
but
what
then
is
we don't
this
hear men
have
saying, "I'm sorry, sister, I cut you off." But
but
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. But you do. I mean, some want to be single for a while, and then some of them decide they want to be married and stuff again. You have different stages in life, and I don't know what not succeeded means because some people say being with one person the rest of your life is actually not realistic. So you may have a season in your life where you're a mother and you did that right there. Because guess what? You may have not been fulfilled. You may have been a shotgun wedding. And then you may
And
come out of that and go into a next lifetime and have a successful marriage for 15 or 20 years or a successful situationship with somebody or whatever it does that make you happy. But that's to say at 50 years old, your life is over. Haley Berry is 50 years old.
exactly, and there are men right here on YouTube that are in their 50s, and they're saying that they are single by choice because and they can play the field. And they have had plenty of failed marriages and relationships. I know quite a few right now online that fit that bill. But when they say it, nobody is saying that they have vitriol or that they're bitter. So
I
why would that apply to women and not men?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't want to get into the bitter terminology, and I'm well aware of some of the things that we men say. But if we're honest, this subject here is a woman's domain. This is something that we hear women say if we're going to have an honest
But
discussion.
if you read like magazines, if you go and read some other things besides YouTube, you'll hear women saying that they're fine living in their own spaces, that some women don't even want to give up their own spaces. They're fine having long-term relationships in which they have their own spaces in their own time. They don't really want to coordinate having every aspect of their life
Right.
with another
But
person.
what,
So
sir?
you just made my point.
Hold,
But
hold
it's a
on a
choice.
second,
It's a
Koja.
choice.
Hold on, Koja, because what Sir Anthony is saying is that older women can't say that they're single by choice because they pretty much run their gamut, and it doesn't really make sense for them to say it because they've had their failed relationships. So basically, us saying single by choice doesn't really make any sense because basically, we've pretty much aged out of the market,
I
so
wouldn't
it
use that
doesn't
That's
matter.
not
terminology.
true.
I wouldn't say aged out, Sister Faith.
I disagree.
I worked in like what they call
Well,
Century Village and
well,
retirement
that's
communities.
essentially what you're saying, Sir Anthony. That's
No, no,
essentially what you're saying.
I would like you to
But can I
catch
say this here?
nuance.
Maybe this is just in the black community because I've done a lot of home health with elderly people, and I've had the men say these women say they don't want to be a nurse they don't want to be a nurse anymore. They don't want to get the second marriages and stuff. And that's not, these are active elderly people who are up and going and golfing and stuff. And you see the older women coming to the gym with each other, and some of them say they don't want to be tied down anymore to having to be somebody nurse or a wife anymore. So maybe that's just a stigma in the black community. They say they've done that part of their life and they no longer want to do it. They're happy with dating and having their own space. So maybe it's just looked down as a negative in the black community because how marriage is viewed in the black community. But in other communities, and it's even been, I just read a couple of magazine articles about it, about women choosing to remain and not, where some men are saying they want to get married but the women don't want to because they don't want to give up their independence and stuff. So
Yes, uh,
Okay.
but
Well, I
Sister
see.
Faith.
Oh,
Oh,
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Sir Anthony, because I was going to actually clarify on what you.
I'll be quick. I see bro speakers on here. Um, I don't want to. I don't want to get into the weeds of saying that women have aged out. I'm simply saying that this is a woman's talking point to the point that Coach Malik referenced in the magazine article that she read. So, this is something that you hear women say. And so to say I'm single by choice is something that is in their domain. But once you've gotten into a certain age, saying single by choice almost sounds ludicrous to me because you've had your chances. I mean, you've tried it.
Well, see,
You know,
there you are. You're saying it
I
right
mean,
now. The same thing that
it's
I
not that
just
you
said.
yeah, but it's not that you aged out. You can
Well,
still keep on
you said
trying,
when
but
she gets to a,
to say that I'm
you said
single
when
by
she gets
choice is
to a
like
certain age.
if a
To
younger
say that,
woman were to
hold on
say,
a sec,
I would.
hold on,
Oh,
Sir
I'm sorry.
Anthony. You
I'm sorry about
said
that.
when she gets to a certain age, it's ludicrous for her to say single by choice. It's the same as saying she's aged out of being able to say that. So for you to sit here and try to correct me after you turned around and basically repeated what I just said, that's a little bit disingenuous. That's exactly what you meant. So I understood you
Uh,
correctly the first time.
no, but women can still keep. They can keep trying. We've mentioned that in this discussion. People, you can still continue. Trying your hand at the rodeo, but it's a talking point that is almost like, to me, like I say, you've tried and things have failed, and then so you say,
Elizabeth,
oh, I'm going to, I'm going to be single by choice.
but it is their choice. You had a choice to continue or not to continue, so it is their choice. Elizabeth
Uh,
Taylor got married what, 8, 9 times? So
she
we
kept
do have a
trying.
choice. People choose to say, hey, I want to continue this, or I don't. It is a choice because they could still be on the dating sites. They could be 90 years old speed dating. It's their choice. You're saying like they don't have a choice because they don't have any options. That's how it's coming
Oh,
across.
okay. Let's. I'll stay on for a little while longer. I see other brothers have joined onto the panel. if I can get another chance, I'll come back.
Thank you for your point of view.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you guys just cut off all of a sudden. Were
I
you
can hear
were
you,
you
Sister
done,
Faith.
Sir Anthony?
Yes, I would like other people to speak. I don't want to take up too much.
I
Well, what
just
I
mute
want
my
to
mic so y'all can't hear the background stuff, but I'm still here.
Okay, all right. Well, what I want to do is I want to go to Bro Speak, and then I'm gonna go over to Commendable K. Bro Speak, how are you today, sir?
I'm all right. How y'all doing?
We're doing pretty good. We're old and we didn't hit the wall and
Oh
Hey,
no,
hey, this is
that's
good
wrong.
morning. Good
That's wrong.
morning.
That's
I,
not.
so pretty much y'all should just go retire in the nursing home at this point now. Just
yeah, yeah, go rock our grandkids and just get out of everybody's way. But
right.
Life don't begin until
Cool.
you 50.
Yeah.
I'm working in a nursing home. I guess I better push one out their bed and hop in the bed with them.
Hey, hey, hey. At least you got a bed right there. Hey, no problem with it. But yeah, but the thing of it is, I think where some people say that as far as think women are lying about that whole happily single is that they've seen a lot of women who who are single, but you see that they're not happy with it. They claim that they can get any guy, and then but you see them, they always frowning, they never happy, they always raging against somebody. So I think that's where I think people get that misconstrued, where you don't have someone like a Faith or a Sheila E who's saying, yeah, I did all that stuff. I did the marriage, I did the dating, and you know what? I just want to be single. And I don't want to go through all that drama. My mother was like that. She was married for 20 something years, got away from my father. She was with another guy for about off and on 5 years. Went through drama with him. Finally, she met my stepfather. Now that was the one she was going to marry. That was her guy. But unfortunately, my stepfather caught cancer, and he died.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. That was her love of her life right there. So she tried dating after that.
Mhm.
Both were goofballs. One was actually suggested by my aunt, and he turned out to be a goofball. So it's like, so she was like, "I'm done," and I felt bad for her in a sense because it's like, you know, you wanted her to be with someone, but at the same time, I was happy because I didn't have to deal with the whole uh other man in the life and had to deal with some of these goofballs, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. So I, you know, I guess I guess just that's the thing. People, when you never seen women who say that be happy, actually be happy, and you seeing them that being all stressed and everything, to hear
But
someone
y'all act
say,
like it's not the same for men because you still have these men that are 55 that are either out there tricking or they settle for somebody who's spending their money and they're not really happy. So men tend to be able now in the black community to marry faster than maybe women, but it still doesn't convey that they're happy because some of them miserable. Some of them know when they got them a part-time sugar baby or one that done moved in with them, but they know that they got somebody on the side. So just as easily as you could say that the women are unhappy just because the men may have somebody in the house, they may not be happy.
But once
yeah,
again, the single by choice is in the male domain. So I think this conversation is focused mainly on women.
Well, I would say because it's just assumed that men gonna be single. That's already assumed that he's gonna be single. It's not with women. Women we always assume that women are always gonna have a man by their side. It's
Mm.
not the case with men. Men, we especially if they get older, if they not married and all that, you just assume that they're gonna be single. So it's not really a talking point for men as it is for women.
And I would like
Hmm.
to say something too. My
Okay, but
lifestyle.
before you do, because Commendable K has been hanging
Okay.
out here, and I know that he wants to chime in on this. So let me go ahead and introduce Commendable K. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate it. Really good topic. So I got a
Hey,
couple.
honey.
Hey, what's going on? So hey, Faith. Hey, chat. Hey, panel. So I got a couple of notes, and one thing I look at is duality, and that duality is you're either happily single or you're lonely or miserable. So it's either A or B. And once we start to understand that, we can begin to understand that you have to choose to want better for yourself as opposed to settling, because you're either going to have standards and stick to them or settle for whatever comes your way. And in my opinion, men do use the concept of being like choosing to be single or being happily single. They just call it a different thing. They may call it being free or self improvement, like the self improvement movement with AMS or MGTOW, whatever it is. There are men that use not necessarily the happily single term that many women have made popular, but they just call it a different thing and kind of use the same concept. So choosing to be single means women are breaking up with men because they choose themselves or they're turning men down. So this concept doesn't apply to women who are no longer getting attention they're used to, or don't get any attention, or they're not getting the attention that they want. Because there are women out there that are, what some would say, advanced age, that they're still getting the attention of men that they were getting when they were in their 20s, as far as the men making a lot of money, being high quality, high value, high payout. There are a lot of women like that. And I think it's somewhat disingenuous to believe that just because a woman's gotten older, that her prospects have gone down. There's even men who choose to only date women with children because they have children themselves or they want to have a ready-made family for whatever reason. So women who choose to be single, they pretty much, they have standards and they are proud of, and more than likely understand that you have to put yourself first and be selfish instead of settling. I say it in my content all the time that you got to be selfish, you got to put yourself first, because if you're not putting yourself first, you're putting yourself last. And I think that a lot of women who embrace the happily single, choosing to be single lifestyle, they have put themselves first and they're not uh, kowtowing to social norms of you got to have a man, you got to have kids, you got to settle down. It's more of controlling your own destiny and doing what you want to do to make yourself happy, as opposed to being a part of something else like a family and serving someone else's needs. And men, again, men choose to be single, and a lot of men are happily single. There's a self-development movement like people like AMS and others are promoting. So I think this is kind of a woman's conversation as far as the stream, because it literally says why some women choose to be single. I think we as men, the best thing that we can do is to understand why they're single and not judge them if they choose to do something like be a cat lady and get old because they're happy, as opposed to not being happy. I'm gonna go on mute.
All
Thank you
right,
for that clarification.
outstanding. All right, so now Sheila E wanted to chime in, and I want to go ahead and allow her to get her thought or her point across. Go ahead, Sheila.
That was beautiful said what he said, because I know after my divorce I decided to stay celibate. Yes, I have a lot of guys would love to marry me. I turn heads. I'm not saying I'm the beautiest and the smartest, but I know my lifestyle. A lot of women can't live that. but I chose to live this lifestyle. I chose to be the best I could be for my grandchild and my kids after my divorce. And I understand that when I go out the house, I do get guys trying to come on me and stuff, and they think I'm younger than I am. But I push my age on them, let them know, look, I'm an older woman. I done lived my life, and I'm not trying to even go out to eat with nobody. I don't even entertain that, So I'm just saying that that's just I decided to stay celibate until the day I close my eyes. Now I know that's not for everybody.
Right. Like I said, Sheila, you have pretty much found your peace. And there's nothing wrong with that. And like Commendable K said, nobody should judge you for that, or call you a liar, or say that, you can't possibly be happy. I'm looking at Michael Israel's comment, and he says it's not human nature to want to be alone. It cannot lead to happiness.
That I don't agree with that. Well, but we're talking about a woman who's looking forward and cherishing time with her grandchildren. So, um, what judgment can you put on that? And how can you say she's not happy? So, I mean, I don't, you know, I don't know who would, in their right mind, would judge that. So, I do want to, like, for Sister Faith, I want to kind of clean it up, if you will, because that's not what my intention was in the beginning, as far as saying for the older ladies. I think Sheila's example is the perfect example. Like I say, to spend time with your grandchildren is a beautiful thing that I think anyone would agree with. When I hear things
To
like,
me, it
I'm sorry, go ahead.
um, to me it
Grandchild
sounds
number
like
one.
these men want to have a problem with. I'm just say to me, it sounds a little bit like he got a problem with a woman saying she not putting all her focus on a man. That is her choice, and a woman can't possibly be happy because she's choosing not to make a man in a romantic type relationship her number one priority. She didn't say she didn't want to engage with men. She can have very good platonic friendships, but it sounds like he's saying it because she's in denial because she's not wanting to be with a man in a romantic sense, and that she can't possibly be telling the truth. She has to be suppressing something or whatever. For whatever reason in our life, we may feel this way at this time. We may feel forever. We may not. But men have this narcissism. Some of them that a woman whole existence is to certain. She can have many other things going on in her life other than just a romantic relationship.
But that's why I brought up the age factor, because for the younger women that are talking this, choosing to be single by choice, let's see how that plays out with time, and then maybe I'll be um a little bit more fascinated, or intrigued by it. But for older women, like I say, you've already gone down the path, you've had children and grandchildren, and so yeah, you can you have experiences, and maybe you just want to hang it up for a bit, be celibate or what have you, before maybe picking it back up. But for a younger woman, I would like to see that play out with time.
Well, I don't
Maybe the
see a
woman don't want a
problem.
man. Maybe she want a woman.
Right. I
Oh,
don't I don't see a problem even with a younger woman saying that she is single by choice.
I hear it a
I
lot.
feel that it's okay for a woman to explore herself, get to know who she is first as a person, cultivate herself, and so that she can enter a relationship whenever she so chooses as a whole human being, knowing exactly what it is that she wants out of life in general and from whomever she wants in her life. So if a younger woman even says that she's single by choice, why should that be any reason for anybody to raise their brow and say, no, I can't accept that? I don't get that. Why would that be a reason?
It's not a matter of accepting it, because we have no control over it. People can do what they want to do. We all know that. But I'm saying this, like, as is a lady's talking point, and oftentimes we get into an echo chamber. Younger women are saying it, older women are saying it. So I try to place some kind of a divide between younger women and older women because there are different factors at play. Younger women maybe not have the children. Let's assume that they don't have the children and life experiences. And so if they say they're going to be single by choice, they're saying a lot. They're choosing to give up a lot of things that the older women may have already given an attempt at. And if they can do that with a true heart and say, "Hey, look, I'm not with this, and I'm good by myself," I'll be, I'm amazed. I'll be amazed at that. But I don't think that that's the case. I think it's just all talk, but except for a few, and it's just wolf
What
tickets.
are they choosing to give up? Because it
You
cannot be
know,
motherhood. Because I'm a
yeah,
strong proponent of the
motherhood,
sperm bank.
family. Those
I'm
are
a strong
those are big
proponent of the
things.
sperm bank. I am a strong proponent of the sperm bank. I wouldn't let my fertility go because of
Well,
husband or a
well,
lack of a husband. But everybody make their own choice. But I say because there are a lot of women over 40 not having kids, and I say
you mentioned the
if
sperm
that's
bank, but that's what I brought up: children and the reverse Oedipus
hey hey
complex.
hey. Yeah, we got men with electro complexes, so it go both ways. Like they say, it's a
Understood.
duality for
But,
everything.
but Sister Coach Malik, you keep bringing men into this. We're not your yardstick. We're speaking about women here today. Is that okay?
Well, I think with younger people in general, when they say something that is that we believe is going to be permanent, we look at them very skeptical. Like I remember a supervisor I had, and she was in her 20s, early 20s, saying that she liked women, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Let's see. I mean, you know, eh, you haven't lived life yet to make that decision, because that's supposed to be a long term thing. It's not something that you just do on a whim. So, sure enough, she was messing around with one of her one of my other supervisors, who's a male. It got so bad that her girlfriend made her quit her job and move up to Dallas. So that's why I think when you hear younger women saying that, you give it a sigh, they haven't lived life yet. But if you hear like a Faith or a Sheila E saying that, you're gonna give them a little more weight. They've lived life. They've done some things. So it would make more sense for them to say it as opposed to a younger woman. But again, you never know. You never know with people. So
I think I get what the guys are saying because I do think that it does make sense to draw a line between the younger and the older. Because if when I was younger, I definitely do remember wanting to be with someone, desiring to have a family and all of that. So yeah, you're right in that there is a difference in a young woman saying single by choice and an older woman saying single by choice. But I do want to say that it's good though if a younger woman makes that decision based off the fact that she does not want to run herself through a gamut of men who are only out to use and abuse her. So if she's saying I'm single by choice and working on myself, and it's going to take a hell of a person to make me want to give up my peace and my serenity, but I don't, but you're right, there are not a lot of young women doing it for that reason. So I get what you're saying. I can understand why you're saying that you give the younger woman the side eye for it, because a lot of them do want the relationships, and a lot of them that do say that they're single by choice, they're really not, saying it because it's a choice of their own. They're saying it because they've been going through a lot of hurt and a lot of pain, but not because they want to do self development. So I get it. I get it.
I'm glad you got it because that's what my intention was. from from the beginning. And we most definitely don't want. I mean, we have daughters and nieces and so on and so forth. We don't want to see young women ruin their bodies and their spirits running through men. I don't think anybody in their right mind would say that.
Right.
So now, with
I
women,
don't
especially,
think
go ahead, Koja.
I don't think there's nothing wrong if a young person has been out there and they've seen maybe something within themselves that they've chosen or not viewed the right things. I think it's very smart for them to say, hey, you know what? I might got a little bit more self work to do. Maybe I got some self esteem issues, and maybe I might need to take myself out of this for a minute to get myself right. So when I do get back out there, not looking through the wrong lens, or my vision a little bit better. Maybe I need to go get an eye exam on my soul and my self-esteem. And so for this particular moment in time, I'm going to, as young people and as people, we have the right to be one way today and take time out, and the next time, next. That's life. That's what it's about. It's about saying, hey, I see something that's not quite right. And for whatever reason, I'm taking that time out to fix that. Doesn't make anything wrong, because I don't think any of us can get through this life without having some tailor-made infirmity, what Joyce Myers calls it, that needs to be fixed and addressed. And I think it's a smart and a mature person that would say, let me time out for a minute and fix me and maybe do some work with me, because maybe what I'm doing is attracting somebody that's not good for me.
Yes. And also
Yeah.
being transparent too, because you have a lot saying, I want to take out time to be by myself. I don't want to be in a relationship, but yet still every other week you have a different man and you're young. So if you're going to be transparent and be honest and true to yourself, take the time out and really sit back and think what you want to do with your life. And don't be bothered with nobody, male or female, when it comes to relationship. And that's why I try to teach our young generation today, you know, just be true to yourself. If you want to be involved, go ahead, be involved. But there are consequences, because we was got married at a young age. This generation, well, my family still old tradition. I have a nephew getting married at 30. But now, just, you have to talk to them, really, see where their head is at. Because they will say one thing and do another.
But the young women are being shamed. Now you have Kevin Samuel saying that these women are in the danger zone if they haven't married by 27.
That's
And
another.
so, you have a lot of young women that are shamed into thinking that if they're not married at this young age, if they haven't found that elusive, high value guy before they turn 27, they're not actually validated. And that's that shaming language that goes into these women, being told that they need this man to validate them somehow. And if they don't have a man in their life, if they don't have a successful relationship, then they've somehow failed at life. So you don't really have a lot of young women running around here bragging about being single by choice, because if they say it, nobody believes them, number one. And if they're doing it because they want to actually work on themselves, nobody actually believes that they want to work on themselves.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going into that. But like Sir Anthony says, people in our age group, me and you, Sheila, if
Mm-hmm.
we say it, it's okay because we've lived life. And so, nobody's really, gonna give that the side eye. But if somebody that's 22 or
You
23
done hit the
says it,
wall, broke the wall,
it's just
broke the
kind of
window
like,
down.
right, right. Basically, if a young person says it, it's just kind of like, oh, you don't really mean that. You're ugly, and that's the reason why you don't have a man, or you're just not desirable, or you didn't make the cut somehow. That's what these young women are being told.
Oh, it's
But
disturbing.
I wanna go over to Commendable K. Commendable K, what are your thoughts on young women? What the young women are being
I
told
don't
now.
pick up undies.
Oh, wait a minute, Sir Anthony. I was asking Commendable K what are his thoughts on what the young women are being told now about being in the danger zone by 27.
Yeah, when I was growing up, dudes were saying the same thing or a variation of it, and basically it's just a design to convince women to basically put out to men they wouldn't normally put out to, by telling them, uh, you know, um, if you don't hurry up and get married, or don't hurry up and have kids by a certain age, or you don't, have sex with men who you're going on a first date with, you're going to be alone and be single and unhappy. All that is shaming language, just repackaged. Instead of it being a phrase, now it's a different concept that's been kicked around for the longest time. So I think it's good that women, especially girls, are somewhat smarter than the older generation that was more about, let's hurry up and get married, let's hurry up and have kids, let's hurry up, try to be housewives, because you can pour 100% of yourself into something with your blinders on and rose petal glasses, and next thing you know, you've pumped out a few kids, you don't have any skills, you're dependent on a man, and he up and cheats on you, and now you're having to start over, or you're in a bad situation and having to dig yourself out of a hole when you could have taken your time, enjoyed life, enjoyed yourself, put yourself first, and made a better decision once you got wiser. So sometimes we as men who have never been girls or women, we kind of get outside of our depth when speaking on what makes women of all ages happy. And I think we should be more of active listeners as opposed to kind of telling them what we believe they should feel and what they should believe. And on the same note, getting on your purpose or doing something you would enjoy is a great reason to be single. Just like what Sheila was saying, she's enjoying her grandchildren, or it may be someone who's younger who has activities and pursuit of goals, such as going to school, moving for a job opportunity, or working increased hours for a possible promotion, or increased paycheck during the holidays, that can be hindered if you're in a relationship. All these are different reasons to be happily single, or to choose to be single. And when someone says that they're choosing to be single, it's not necessarily saying that they want to be single for the rest of their life. They're just, we have to understand that they're saying they're wanting to be single at that moment when you're talking to them, because people change all the time. People change their mind all the time. The woman I'm with now, I could say I want to go and eat this place, eat somewhere, and then 5 minutes later, I'm like, you know what? I want pizza. So I wanted hamburgers and fries at one moment. Then the next thing I know, I want pizza, and after that, I don't want to eat anything. So people change their mind all the time. And so when people are saying I choose to be single, we shouldn't be so quick to have a knee-jerk reaction to kind of tell them, well, maybe it's because you have these children, or maybe it's because you've gotten old and you've experienced life. It may just be because they just don't want to have any more drama that normally goes with relationships. Because could we all be honest and understand that there's no perfect relationship, and every relationship has problems. But when you're single, you're going to have the same problems that you're going to have when you're in a relationship. So if why do bad with somebody when you could do bad by yourself? That's how I looked at it when I was single. It was just like, I'm gonna have the same problems, the drama. It could be something where you've fallen asleep and someone calls you a bunch of times, texts you a bunch of times. They're thinking that you're messing around or whatever, and you just sleep. Well, stuff like that, you won't really experience that when you're single. You'll experience that when you're in a relationship. So there's a lot of different reasons why someone would want to be single. I think we should just accept that, understand that we have to look for someone who's the yin to our yang, and not someone who's perfect, but someone who's perfect for us. And you really can't obtain that until you are happily single, and you are understanding that you have to take your time and have standards, and even expand your options to find what you really want. Because when it boils down to it, you either get with someone for the rest of your life, or you get with them and you break up. And not a lot of us like going through breakups, all willy-nilly.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, Sir Anthony, you wanted to say something?
I I forget the moment that what was going on in the moment, but you started to speak, and you know you're the host.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk about that whole expanding options that Commendable K introduced into the conversation, because that's another thing that really, really kind of burns a lot of men's ire when they hear Black women in particular talk about expansion of options. Why
Mm,
do you think, I'm going to start with Sir Anthony. Why do you think a lot of Black men have an issue with Black women expanding their options?
When you say expanding options, you're speaking of what's the word? Divestment and things of that nature.
Well, yeah, expanding their options beyond just, looking at Black men as potential mates, but also men of other cultures and racial groups.
For personally, I mean, just as full disclosure, sister face, I myself, I come from out of the manosphere spaces, and so just to step back a bit, I'm in full agreement with a lot of what Mr. Kevin Samuel says. I don't want to get off topic though, but in regards to women going other places, I encourage them to do so if that's what they want to do. That's me. I would prefer, personally though, I would prefer for black men, and black women to get together. But if either side wants to go elsewhere, I'll help them over the fence if they need it.
And why would you help them over the fence? Well, I'm trying to get the full spectrum of what you're saying.
If that's what they want to do, I value people's choice in the matter.
Okay, so you're saying that you do value the fact that they do have that choice and that right.
Certainly.
Okay, but now why do you think a lot of men? Because I heard there are a lot of men. There are D. Durrell. He prefers that Black people stay with Black people. So there are quite a few men in the space that have an issue, particularly with Black women expanding the options. Why do you think that is?
I I would say that they would be guys that are in agreement with D. Durrell. They like to see black men and black women together. And so when they see otherwise, then they're going to speak on the matter.
And to be fair, now Dieter Rail, he doesn't speak harshly of Black women at all. He's just a proponent of Black love, period, and water snipers like that too. But there are other men in the space. They don't have any problem with the Black men that date out of the race and date other cultures, but they speak very heavily and harshly against Black women. Like when Serena Williams married the white guy, they called her a bid wench. And there was the Black woman just now that got beat up by the Black football player or what have you. They said that oh, that's what she gets for going outside the race. They think that they're going to get better outside the race. But these are the same guys that don't have any problems, it seems like, with seeing the same thing in other Black men.
I haven't seen guys that are for black men going out speaking against black women going out. That's in my experience. And earlier I placed a comment in the chat where I said that you lady when it was only the ladies on the panel, I said you ladies love going to the gutter parts of the manosphere. So I say that to say sometimes when I listen to your show, I hear you speaking about things that I have no knowledge about because I'm not in those spaces. It's like I'm in the good neighborhood and you're over there,
Well, I mean,
and I wonder why you go over
this is
there when I don't.
hold
Why?
on a second. Hold on a second. Because see, you're starting to be disingenuous now because I go to
Okay.
D Rail's panel, and I go, over to BMT. So I don't view D
Well,
Rail as being
so
the gutter part.
are you
Hold
saying
on,
that D. Durrell is speaking against women though?
no, no, no. I just said just now that he doesn't.
I
But
know he doesn't.
some of the guys that go on his panel, though, I've heard them say this. I've been over to BMT, and some of the guys that go on his panel, I've heard him say this. So it's not that we're going over to the gutter part and hearing that. The gutter part people are coming over here and saying it.
Okay, Sister Faith. Um, how can I say this? I don't want to name content creators names. Um,
You might as
so
well at this point.
well, no, I mean, well, D. Durrell, I mean, I think it's safe to say because he's a friend of this channel, right? So, so D. Durrell's a friend of the channel, and I wasn't including him in my statement. But
Right,
there's
but
the
the point I'm making is nobody's going over to the gutter part, as you stated. They're coming
okay,
over here.
so let me clarify my statement then. There's a certain content creator that I know that you think is probably the ugliest person in that space. Without saying the name, I think we know who we're talking about. And his channel, I get the sense that you go over there. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like, what? I don't even go over there. What are you doing over there?
Well, I can go where I want to go.
No, yeah, but no, I know you can go where you want to go, sister.
But the
But you
thing
understand
about
what
it
I'm
is,
saying?
I just named two content creators that aren't gutter that I go over, but you're not
Well,
saying anything about that.
see,
And
I wasn't
those same
including them
people,
in that space.
hold on. And those same people that go over to O'Shea go over there too. So no matter where you go, those people are there. And just like you have access to your keyboard, they have access to their keyboard wherever they go. Sometimes
Yeah,
they come over here to my channel.
yeah, okay. So
And
like
then and when they come to my channel, they come over here with those talking points. Zach, stay focused.
now, so like I was saying,
So
I
so
was
so so what are you talking about?
I wasn't
They're
like I said.
all over they're all over this space. You act like this space. Hold on. You act like there's a fence around this space that's
We're all
keeping people from
we're all
going
free to
to other
go.
parts.
We're all free to go to these. It's a free range. But
Exactly. So
so
what are you
so
saying?
yeah. So what I was saying, like I said, you going to D derail. Wasn't including that. So I try to give a
Right, but you
reference
have
to
a
a certain
problem.
space.
Wait, but you have a problem with me going to O'Shea. But what I'm
No,
saying
no,
is
no, no, no. I
the
don't
same
have a
because
problem with you going there.
that's hold on because the same people that goes over to O'Shea, and I know who you're talking about O'Shea, are the
No,
same
that's
people
not
that
who I
come to
was
my.
talking about though. That's why, I mean, I don't want to name names. I was going to name names. It's another person, and I'm still not going to name names. But
Okay, well, I don't know who you're talking about then,
okay, so
but
you
hold on,
kind of
hold on. But the same people that go to those spaces, they come to my channel. They come to
okay,
my channel.
okay,
So it's not like there's a fence or a gate that keeps these people from going to these different areas.
okay. So I stand corrected. You're really not going into very many spaces outside of your channel and D derail and BMT.
Right. I go to Reg the bad guy, and they're over there.
Gotcha.
I go to GMT. They're over there. I go to Rudim's channel. They're over there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to speak anymore about, I don't want to get into the weeds and starting to name names and start then speaking in that regard. So I'm going to back up a bit before things get messy in that regard on your channel. And that's not what I'm trying to do today.
All right. Well, bro,
I mean,
Steve. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but what I think I was saying is that, it's like with my former assumption that you clarified, like if you're going to spaces that, like I say, like I don't go to, like sometimes I hear it's like you pick up things that are messy, and it's like I don't even en- you know engage in that space. So I'm wondering like why you would want to go to those spaces when I don't go to those spaces.
Well, you don't want to go to those spaces, but
Yeah, because
some of those
there's nothing but
spaces.
mess. There's nothing but
Hold,
mess in
hold,
some of those
hold, hold on,
spaces.
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Just like I like going over to Dita Rail's channel, I enjoy Dita Rail's content. I enjoy
Understood.
O'Shea's content. I enjoy Grandmaster Crow's content. I enjoy a variety of content. And do you understand what variety means?
Oh, of course, Sister Face, I understand that.
So am I wrong for that?
No. Like I say, we're all adults here. We can do what we
So
want to
are
do.
you going to shame me for liking
Oh,
variety? Because
oh
that's what
no,
it sounds like.
no, you know you're being messy now.
Well,
Um,
no, 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 no. You brought it up. You
no, I
brought
mean,
it up.
but can you not hear me when I say if there's
But okay,
like
so what do
I
you
use the
mean?
neighborhood analogy.
What exactly do you mean when you say if you don't go there, I
Uh,
shouldn't go there? As if
uh,
I have to
I
go where you go.
no, what I'm saying I used the neighborhood analogy earlier,
Well,
and we were
that's a shaming tactic.
but if you're going into a bad neighborhood and you're bothered by it, like like the white girls that go into the neighbor to the neighborhood, to get buy drugs or whatever. If they're going to complain about the neighborhood, why go there to buy drugs? So I'm saying,
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. It's just like my cousin lives in a bad neighborhood. I'm
okay,
not going to stop going to see my cousin because she lives in that neighborhood. I enjoy my cousin's company. And so, in going in that neighborhood, I can't help but see what's in the environment of the neighborhood that she lives in.
and so
Does 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 that does that answer your question a little bit?
your analogy fits it perfectly to what you say you go over to BMT and D Rail. See, but I was operating off of a different assumption until you clarified it. Like you were going into outside spaces and then hearing things and catching
No,
stuff
no,
that was
because see, I don't like when men do this. Because
okay.
it's kind of like the same thing as a man telling a woman that if she didn't go out at 3 o'clock in the morning, she wouldn't have got raped. When it's that woman's right to go anywhere
It's
she wants to at any time she wants to without
okay,
having to deal
but
with the
okay,
being assaulted.
and
I
I
hate
don't,
when men do that.
and
I hate
I
when you
don't like when
guys try
women
to
do this.
shame women as if they're in the wrong
I don't
for
like when
doing
women do
something
this.
that every hold on no, a woman is not in the wrong. I'm not in the wrong if I like to go over to O'Shea. I'm not in the wrong if I like to go over to Grandmaster Troll.
I
I'm
think we
not in the
already covered that.
wrong. Right. But see, I think I need to go ahead and drive home the point. I really do. There should
Uh,
not be any shaming language telling someone, especially a grown person, where they can and can't go.
I didn't tell you.
Because
I
no,
did
no, no,
never
no,
say not
but
to
you
go there.
can't.
I asked the question. I said
No,
I asked the question.
you
Why
said
would you
no,
go
no, no,
there if you're
no,
bothered by the content?
no, 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 no. I simply pointed out that there are certain talking points that I hear, and I asked you a question. Why do you think the men feel that way? I didn't say whether or
Well,
not I was bothered by it.
no,
I just simply
we're
asked you a
all the way
question.
past that point, sister.
Oh, no,
As
no, no,
far
no,
as
no, 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 no. But now we're here. And so
yes,
I'm going to go ahead and clarify that for you. You tried to shame me by
no, I
saying,
didn't.
yes, you did.
No, I
Yes, you
didn't. Like I
did.
said, I
You
don't like when women do
absolutely
this.
did.
I didn't try to
Okay,
shame you. I
okay,
asked
hold
the
on,
question.
hold on. You asked the question, if you're not going in those spaces, then why would I go in those spaces? That's a shaming
I
tactic.
said that because I admitted that I go into these spaces every day, and then there's certain places where I say no, that's not really that's not really content that I'm really trying to go really deal with. And I think BMT and D Derail refer to some of these things oftentimes in their channel. So for someone who's not a man and who would frequent the manosphere spaces, the question was legitimate. Why go into these areas that are going to trigger you? If I don't even
But
go
the
there
thing
and I'm
about it
part of the
is
manosphere,
you can hear those same talking points as I pointed out earlier, without even going into those areas. Sometimes they bring it to you.
Yes, you clarified that, and I caught that. Yes,
But
I
I
got it.
want to shout out to Culture Malik for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. She says he is avoiding answering the question.
Okay, help me out, Sister Coach and Malik.
But she's
I thought I did answer everything that you asked me.
well, you're kind of dodging what I'm asking
Okay,
because the question was simply, and I'll ask it again.
okay,
Why do you think these men have an issue when it's black women who are talking about expanding the options, but they don't have a problem seeing the same thing in black men expanding their options?
okay. I said earlier I thought that I haven't seen that, and the ones that would have a problem with what I said would be of the mind of like a BMT and a D Durrell. If you want to see black men and black women get together, you would have a problem with seeing black women get with white men. But I haven't seen guys who are for black men leaving the space be against black women leaving the space. They don't really care enough. I haven't seen that.
Well, I have, and the thing about it is they don't go off right on a tangent and say, "Oh, we don't want our sisters to go anywhere." They'll do it whenever they see a especially a famous black woman that they have deemed to be undesirable marry out. Then they'll start having what you call these crybaby parties, and they'll start making these live streams about it. That's how it comes out, and that's how they start exposing themselves and revealing how lopsided they are in their thinking. I've seen that on many occasions.
Oh, okay. I have it.
But
Yeah, I have.
but you understand what I'm saying?
I think we're reaching an accord and understanding one another. I understand. Yeah, yeah. I got clarity. I think.
Okay. I mean, well, as long as we were seeing eye to eye and we understand each other, I'm not going to
Uh,
keep beating the dead horse because
and not even that.
I'm not trying to beat up on you or anything like that.
Uh,
But you
uh,
did, like Coach Lee said, you went off on you're going to spaces as opposed to why the men are getting mad. So it was
but
like you deflected my question,
well, I think I answered it earlier because truthfully, I mean, I can't speak for these men, and I thought I think I repeated myself when I said, these men the men that are of the mind of Dita Rail would have a problem with it. And I thought I answered it pretty early on. And I do have thick skin, so I'm not easily offended. And I don't even think we need to actually see eye to eye. Just as long as we're respectful, we can disagree. We can weather
Oh no,
that. We're adults.
I'll never, disrespect any person on the panel. You'll never have to worry about that, and I definitely am able to have the conversation.
Yeah, and that
But
disrespect is not my thing either.
I do. No, no, I know it's not. You're very respectful. I do want to, make sure that I lay out the point that there's a lot of deflecting going on, in this back and forth between you and I. And I just, I couldn't let it go without pointing it out. But I
Have I
do need
answered your
to,
question?
you really didn't, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna leave it as it is and move on.
Uh,
Um, bro, speak. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Well, did you hear the question that I asked Sir Ism? Sir Anthony, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I heard it. Well, it could be a number of reasons. It just depends on the man. Like you talk about, uh, like D. Darrell. It is an issue of he wants to promote black love. If you're talking about like on the pro black side, kind of the same thing. Even though I think some of those dudes are full of shit. So, as far as some of the guys in the manosphere, I think is more a response to the fact that they a lot of those guys get the heat for wanting to date out as well, and so and they've heard it a lot from other women saying it. Why are you dating this white chick? Why you can't get with a black woman and all kind of that. So they're taking it out on other women from the stuff that they get because I think that a lot of guys, especially in the past, they've gotten that if they date out, they get shamed for it, so they want to shame the women for doing it. So this, and again, some of these dudes are goofballs, so it's who knows on some of them. I just think it's either they're one, like I said, like the D Durrells who promote black love. Um, some do want to do caution you because you know how these white boys be, and especially if you in kind of like the swingers and all that kind of stuff, you really know how these white boys get down, and then and it's not pretty. So I think that's a warning. Some dudes is like I said, they've been shamed by women, probably their family, so they're taking it out on the other women. Another thing that I have seen is that some of the women use that as a shaming tactic against the black men. Say, look what we have to do to, find suitable men. That we have to go out of we got to go outside our race to do that. And I think that irritates some men as well because it's like, okay, if you're gonna do it, just do it, but don't throw it in our face. And then you also got the ones where you had a woman who did go out, it goes bad, but then they still blame the black man for it. So it's a lot of stuff that happens with that. It's not just centered on one particular thing. Different men have their different men and different males have their own reasons. I mean, you just got to ask every single one. So I can't just pinpoint one particular reason. It's just like every man, every male has their own reason for why they would shame a black woman for wanting to expand their horizons, divest or something like that.
Okay, well said. At least you did, answer the question, unlike Sir Anthony over here.
I can't speak for I can't
You
speak for
got
other men, Sister Faith. You know, uh, I I can't speak for other men. Like say,
Okay,
I'm in a black relationship. Before I got dropped off, I think I was saying that I support black relationships, man and woman, and families. So I don't get behind with this thing that you're talking about here. So I mean, it's not that's a part of, like, I guess, the neighborhood that I don't deal with. You know, so we're kind of like we're the choir and we're talking amongst ourselves, and so I can't speak for other guys in that regard.
well, I don't expect you to speak for them, but I'm just asking, why do you think they might feel that way?
Okay, I'll try this one more time. I haven't seen it, but for guys that there's a lot of chest pounding in that space, and guys popping off and saying things that they say. I think the difference between myself and some of the ladies that might hear the stuff is that I'm of the mind that they're fully of the mind to say whatever they want to say in that space. You know, oftentimes, in dealing with these YouTube streets, being mindful of the things that aren't said and reading in between the lines is a skill that has to be developed because people say things all the time.
Okay. And Melanated Vessel says, I agree. You cannot speak for others. Thinking is only a perception. But I will go ahead and continue to go on and ask Commendable K the same question I asked the other two men. Why do you think a lot of men have a problem with black women in particular expanding their options, but they don't seem to have a problem when they see other black men like themselves doing the same?
I guess it's just double standard as far as why they're not calling it out for black men. But a lot of black men have a problem with black women expanding their options because expanding options means more competition and that a black man can't run the same plays they used to run to score touchdowns. So, anytime black women normally say they're expanding their options, they usually associate it with, I don't want to deal with struggle love. And that goes with abusive relationships and dating down. And that's really what it boils down to is a lot of people are lazy. We as men, we usually fall into one of like three categories: those who want to conquer assets, those who want to conquer women, or subconsciously are okay with being conquered. For the sake of example, don't actively change the system or do anything about the situation. They just kind of complain, and they're okay with how things are. You'll hear men come online going on and on and on about system of oppression, white supremacy, 1850s talking points, 1950s talking points, just go on and on and on and on and on until people get tired of being on a panel and they go back home, back to their lives, to doing nothing. So when it boils down to it, a lot of women who want to expand their options, they want more for themselves. They want to be with a man not only who will provide and protect, but also is constantly improving himself and is the best person for her. So when black women are expanding their options, that means that the black men that used to be able to sleep with them, date them, or even be in the same room as them, those black men no longer will have access to these women. And the black men are going to either have to improve themselves or be left with whatever they qualify for, taking a page out of Kevin Samuels' book when he talks about qualifying for who you want. And a lot of black men don't like having to compete with other races. We'll complain about the other races, go on and on and on, but not many black men, as far as in the majority, really want to compete. They really want things to be fair. That's the reason why most black people vote for Democrats, because Democrats are all about redistributing as opposed to you get your fair, as opposed to you earning your resources based off of your skill and what you can provide and get in return for your value. So imagine you find out that you don't qualify for women you used to date or want. That'd be devastating. Most black men, they automatically believe that black women are their women because everybody black. But imagine you find out that you being black is not, a prerequisite. And it doesn't mean that these black women are going to be kind of like in your pool of dating. As in, you can't just walk on and all of a sudden get success. That'd be devastating. The same way with wanting a promotion or a higher paying job, but you are not good enough unless you improve yourself. And a lot of people don't want to improve themselves. They rather complain about their situation as opposed to doing something about it. And so a lot of black men, they're, lazy. Now, I got it, not all, but enough to where we have these conversations where they're shaming black women. Like, oh, you couldn't find your black man. Oh, you're with this white man, with this Asian man, all this nonsense. When it boils down to it, the people who are saying this stuff, I mean, you're not trying to date those black women. So why do you care who they sleep with, who they marry? You're not trying to date, if you're not trying to date them yourself, then what difference does it make? Because when it boils down to it, it's all about, collectivism. A lot of people who are collectivists and tribalists, but they're not about conquering. They're not about, improvement. That's why I'm all about individualism, because when it boils down to it, people will use shaming language to get you to do what they want you to do and think the way they want you to think, as opposed to understanding that you want to be happy and you just want what's best for yourself, as opposed to settling. And, a lot of black men are lazy. They don't want to obtain upward mobility and are okay with just going to work and going home as opposed to conquest. And again, there's usually three types of black men. And this is the reason why they don't want black women to date out or expand their options. They want them to select black men and select even the bottom of the barrel, because it's as if like we're playing musical chairs, and black men are the chairs, and black women are walking around looking for seats. There's usually three types of black men: those who want to conquer assets, those who want to conquer women, or subconsciously are okay with being conquered. I'm gonna go on mute.
I like number
Okay.
one.
Well said. Well said. And to anyone in the audience wondering why I'm asking the questions that I'm asking, you see all the different answers that you just got. I'm asking these questions so that we can get a broad perspective and understanding of how we all think, how each other think, excuse me. So when I ask these questions, I'm trying to get a dialogue going with the group so that we can have the conversation, so that we can get these things out into the open. I'm not putting words in CK's mouth. I did not put any words in Bro Speaks mouth. And I certainly did not put any words in Sir Anthony's mouth. I let each person answer the question the way that they want to answer it, unless they were trying to deflect from the question being asked.
Poor Sir Anthony. You got the business.
She's a trip.
But anyway, last but not least, Sheila E, the Quiet Storm. I'm going to ask you the exact same question that I asked the gentleman. I saved the best for last. Sheila, why do you think black men have a problem with black women expanding options, but they don't seem to have the same problem when they see other black men expanding their options?
On the female side of point, I think is double standards, and also it go back to respecting the woman point of view, and they don't really want to hear what we have to say because sometimes it hit home to them. So what they do, they reflect and move the goalpost to somewhere else and try to keep us quiet on that issue. Because I can't really say nothing because the brother before me said everything. So just on a woman point of view, it was said that they was quiet so many years that now they have a voice that us as women don't like it, which some of us, it doesn't matter because we grown, we all have different point of view. We could agree to disagree and just let's respect one another. And as I see it now on the YouTube streets, it's not going that way. So it's only one view, and that's the male point of view. That's all I have to say.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for answering the question. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping it up because we are 3 hours and 25 minutes into this. I think that we had a really great discussion. I want to say shout out to Sir Anthony. He took a little bit of a licking today. I hope that you don't feel too attacked.
Like I said, I got thick skin.
But I want to
Thank
go
you for having
ahead
me on your
and
panel.
no problem, no problem. You could anytime, but I want to go ahead and give my guest the final word. So, Sir Anthony, since you're the first one to come up, you can go ahead and have the final word.
Well, once again, Sister Faith, I'd just like to say thank you for having me on the panel. Like I say, I come over from the Manosphere spaces. Oftentimes what I hear though is are obstacles for us to really be able to come together and first of all have a good dialogue with one another, let alone come together as couples, man and wife. That would be my ultimate desire for all of us. And in order to do that, we have to be able to dialogue. Even if we disagree, we can still reach an accord and love one another. So that's my ultimate goal. in speaking outside of the manosphere when I'm talking to sisters. Um, it's been a pleasure being on your panel. And I'm a fan of Coach Malik, and I was just wanted to jump on while she was on. Pleasure to speak and be on the same panel with Sister Sheila and you too, Brother CK. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for blessing us with your presence as well, Sir Anthony. And it was a pleasure having you on too. I don't want you to think that I was picking on you or anything like that. Usually, I do give people a little bit of a hard time, but I like to think that I've, not been that harsh with you. And please do come again.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're down to Brother Speak. Brother Speak, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, if the women want to be single, I say, hey, don't question it. Let them be single. You know, they they usually might have a reason for it. Maybe they've been through so many bad relationships. They just say, yeah, I'll just stay single. It could be permanent. It could be find the right one. Sometimes the right one comes and when they least expect it. And then, maybe if more women would stop trying to rush stuff, trying to chase after certain type of dudes and just sit down and actually take the time to know themselves and know what type of man they actually want, they probably be better off. And it might be, they might end up alone, and that's cool too, as long as they accept what comes with that. It- So it's complicated. Either way you go, I mean, there's things that can happen one way or the other. So, but if the women want to do it, that's fine. I'm not going to shame you because shoot, like I've seen what's out here, and I wouldn't be rushing to be out there in the dating life right either. So I don't blame them. With that, thank you, Faith, for having me on the panel. Sheila E, Community K, nice talking to y'all. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much, Bro Speak, and please do come again. It was a pleasure to have you on as well.
Be blessed.
All right. Miss Sheila E of the Quiet Storm, what's going on, sis? Any final thoughts for us
Yes.
today?
Yes, I just want to thank you for always allowing me to come on your pen. It's always a pleasure to, have different point of views with my brother and sisters on the piano. And I just want to leave with words encouraging that each one of us that have pianos, just let our pianos reflect our positivity in this dark YouTube streets. Let's be the light. We all have different gifts and talents and personality. Let's come together and lift one another up. Even the ones in the chat with your comments, you never know what a person going through, and just be that one that encouraged them today. And I just want to say, just let your channel be that light in this dark place, on so many places in the YouTube streets. Be positive, be your brother and sister keeper, and that's what it's all about. Iron sharpen iron, lifting one another up. And life is too short for drama. Live, love, and laugh. And I love you guys. Stay blessed.
Thank you, Sheila E. And we love you right back. And you are welcome, as always, to grace this panel with your wisdom and your thoughts. Please do come again, sis.
Thank you. You have a blessed day. You and my
You
brother.
too. All right. Last but not least, what's up, CK?
Hey, I think the takeaway should be that this stream was about why some women choose to be single, not if they should be single. And I think that's what it's not. I'm not saying everybody, but I think some people or a person may have dropped the ball when understanding that this was about communicating, the answers to the question of why some women choose to be single, and just the response to the reasons why some women choose to be single kind of cements the fact that there's some women who would rather be single than to deal with the nonsense to deal with the drama, because every relationship has its ups and downs. But when you're by yourself, you go through downs, but it's not going to be as bad as if you have someone else who's there who may be nagging you or irritating you or being antagonistic or causing more problems or causing more harm than good. It's just a whole host of different things that goes with a relationship as far as adding stress and drama to one's life as opposed to being alone, which is why you want to find the yin to your yang, which is why you want to find not the perfect person or perfect man, but the perfect man for you. And you know, being happily alone so that when you do get with someone, you're not looking for someone to complete you or looking for someone to give you something that you really should be giving yourself. You know, it's kind of a shame that in 2021 there's still people who are like, oh well, you know, why are you with this white man? Why are you with this Mexican man? Why are you with this Chinese woman? That people are still asking questions of why, as in you're not just choosing who you're attracted to. And we got to get away from that tribalistic way of thinking and that collectivist way of thinking, because it's enslavement. And you know, there's a lot of people, especially the younger generation I think is Y, maybe it's Z, I don't know, but it's the younger generation. They don't have the same hangups that we have, and they're further along in the fields that they're in their endeavors because they don't have the same hangups, and they have no problem being single because for them it's just life. So I think we should take a page out of the younger generation's book, especially since the world is at their fingertips and they're growing up with technology and they're doing things that are taboo to people who are my age, 38 and older, such as online dating or doing speed dating or gig jobs, different things that we used to look at as being like yuck. They're jumping in head first. They're happier. They're farther along than we were when we were their age, and ultimately. I think it's in the best interest of the community, the online community, the Black communities, and just people in general, for us to kind of get with the times and ultimately be more active listeners as opposed to listening to just response. And that's pretty much it. So thank you, Faith, for letting me come up and letting me have the final thought. I really appreciate it. Always a great stream. Look forward to seeing you in the future.
All right, no problem. Thank you for gracing the panel, and you are my permanent co-host, by the way. So, of course, I'm going to let you have the final thought.
I
And
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I like the background, by the way. Where are you?
Oh, you know, I'm just just traveling, just I'm everywhere, everywhere. So yeah, just getting ready for Valentine's Day. It's actually next Sunday. I have a lot of great things planned for the woman in my life, and we're gonna go. This is kind of like how our hotel room is gonna be looking. A humble brag. I don't know if she's gonna watch this. She probably is not, but just a humble brag. We're actually gonna be staying in a hotel room here in Las Vegas, Caesars. The room's gonna be looking like this, where it's gonna be kind of like off on the strip. It's gonna be off on the strip or whatever, where you can see the strip, and we're gonna go to really nice restaurants, and we're gonna have a really great time. So this is kind of like just me kind of taking it all in, starting Valentine's week early, and just enjoying really nice things.
All right. Well, you know what? She's a really lucky lady to have you.
Yeah. Yeah, the view is nice. You should go ahead and get you some, Faith. Go on and get you some.
You know what? I just might. I just might.
Okay,
Well, at any
okay.
rate, I'm gonna go ahead and thank all of the people out here that grace this is hella early in the morning, by the way. So you guys are the greatest. I mean, I think at one point I had at least 30 people watching, and you guys are the real MVPs. Do not forget to like the video before we end the stream, because that does keep me on top. And also, don't forget to share the channel out to bring more people in to enjoy these deep conversations and to participate in the deep conversations and maybe get interrogated like Sir Anthony did. But at any rate, I do really appreciate every single one of you out there in my audience. I see Make It Happen Manny out there, Melanated Vessel, Sir Anthony, Anika Max, Who else is there? Hold on a second. Oh, that's Commendable K. I'm trying to go through the comments and get everybody's name. I hate missing everybody. Koja Malik, who was on the panel.
Joe W.
Joe W.
Michael
Don't forget
Israel.
Joe. Michael Israel.
Just Being Jazzy.
Jazz being Jazzy.
Kane
Uh,
Star.
Kane Star, God Allah. All right.
Jason
And
Schaffner.
Jason Schaffner.
Q Savage.
Q Savage.
I'm going to keep going. Okay, I keep going.
Let's
Just a
see.
regular guy. He's actually he's at my channel sometimes. And let's see what else.
Just a regular guy. Thank you for coming out.
I think you already mentioned
And
Sheila E.
Sheila E, the
Chaz
Quiet Storm.
B98.
Chaz, you know what? She has been a long time viewer. Shout out to Chaz. She's one of my day one people. Has always been coming up in here, along with Melanated Vessel as well. So, like I said, you guys are the real MVPs. Thank you so much for coming out and enjoying this conversation with me and supporting the channel. You guys, once again, are the best. And with that, I have to say, peace.
Can I say one thing for you end it?
Oh,
It's
sure. Go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm gonna do clown talk right after this. If anybody wants to get a good laugh, I'm gonna do a clown talk right after this stream. So
all right, so everybody go over to Commendable K. He's going to do clown talk, and Commendable K is actually hilarious, guys. He does a lot of hilarious comedies with different personalities. He can morph into any character that he wants to. This guy is completely talented and hilarious. So you guys go over to Commendable K's channel and support him. Clown talk right after the stream. You will not want to miss it.
You're too kind. You're too kind. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. All right, guys. Well, I got to get out of here because me, myself, and I am tired. I have not gotten any sleep. But CK, I will see you on the next stream.
All right. See you next time.
All right. Peace.
All right.